Ladies and gentlemen, I hope the audio is good. If you hear any problems, please let me know. But we are back for another stream. However long it's going to be, I don't know, because the content drought is still seemingly going on. And if I was to look into everything that's if I was to look at everything that gets linked in inbox, we'd probably only have 2 hours of content. Oh wait, I forgot to do something. Blunder, I'm only banning you from this stream because I have to figure out how to hide you from display chat. Because I know you're not gonna be able to control yourself for some of the upcoming segments we're gonna do. Now, I need to start this by saying, and this should just go to be clear, okay? I am somebody that believes you can joke about anything, okay? I'm not one of those people that's if it's offensive, then it's not okay. I think that kind of completely contradicts the point of comedy. But as I've said before, I think edgy humor is kind of used as a get out of jail. What the fuck am I saying? Like the problem is, yes, the right place at the right time. And what would not be the right place or the right time is if I'm covering somebody negatively and giving them genuine criticism, and all you can do, because you have no originality or creativity, is make jokes and comments about that person's race by virtue of the fact that they're anything but white. Now, I think you can make jokes about any racial group, but it's a bit different if I'm covering someone negatively. Then the jokes aren't really for the sake of laughing. It's targeting somebody for their race. So the reason I bring this up is because last time I tried to have StarDust on a stream, StarDust had agreed to come on the stream, and chat was just out of control. And then StarDust didn't call in. I don't blame her in that instance. So I'm going to not politely, no, I'm telling you, okay, I'm having a zero tolerance policy for that shit. You'll get 24-hour. Is Stardust not white? Okay. Yeah, man, I don't see race. So Stardust is beefing with an individual by the name of Sick. And the thing is, I'm on good terms with both Stardust and Sick. Not sorry, that's a wrong sentence. Not on good terms. Sick likes my tweets sometimes and follows me. I've never spoken to the guy, I don't think. And Stardust I've spoken to before, and we're on, I think, decent terms, despite my personal gripes with her existence online nowadays. But I have many criticisms for her. And, one of those, I personally believe this is very, I'm gonna be a moral frog today. I did not like what I had to see today from StarDust. I gotta be honest with you. And not in regards to, oh, it's boring, oh, her coverage is bad. I just thought it was kind of evil, comically evil is the best way I can describe it. So I'm gonna go into that. I think that a big thing with because we talk about, by virtue of covering drama and the state of the internet, we talk about pedophiles a lot. And a lot of times when pedophilia comes up in discourse, people are so busy attacking the perpetrator, and I agree it's okay to attack the perpetrator, but I also think you equally need to think about the victim in the matter and how these types of behaviors can affect them, how it can affect their development, behavior, etc. I think that's very important if you're doing an analysis of grooming or touching or all of that other stuff, right? You do need to, I would recommend, you do need to understand the various ways and it's so diverse, you'll never be able to understand all of it, but there's like kind of patterns amongst responses for victims of childhood sexual abuse. And that's relevant to bring up based on what we're going to be talking about here in a minute. No, I like Beckett. I like Beckett. I think Beckett is like a very frustrating individual to talk to. I absolutely think he can be like conflict avoidant and fence city. Um, but the reason I like him is because he's not a pussy, right? You can be a fence sitter, a fucking hell, you can be dishonest if you think he's dishonest. But if you're willing to call in and face the music and take the criticism head on and roll with the punches, I respect it. I respect it. Aiden, you look sick. No, I'm just sleep deprived. I'm just sleep deprived, man. You know what? Just to give us a quick warm up, for those of you unfamiliar with StarDust, she used to be involved with like the BreadTube community. Now she's like on like the Diorio pro Ethan side. Uh, I think it's good for us to do a quick refresher on what kind of content she makes.
I think it's funny that you
Hold on. Small talk, true. By the way, join the Minecraft server, ag4l.mc.gg. All right. Let's get a quick she posted this herself, a quick representation of her content.
I think me being an
I heard you were the victim of an anti-Semitic attack in Minecraft. They built burning hate symbols in your house. It's every day with you people.
the iDubbbz video is what's going to cause this harassment. When in reality, it's you, Ethan. You're acting like you haven't spent the last year and a half doing everything in your power to push people to bully and harass me, including weaponizing propaganda organizations such as the ADL to get me banned off Twitch because I made a joke about you not being
Weaponizing propaganda organizations such as the ADL. Wow. 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 Oh my fucking god. What the fuck, dude? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. What is going on? Are we just JQing on main?
JQing on main. By the way, there like more liberal Jewish organizations are totally okay with the assertion that the ADL is a propaganda organization at this point, right? Like they push, it's not merely addressing hate, and they claim to be bipartisan, but for their own benefit they push they will like intertwine and misrepresent various concepts to push their underlying political message. They'll like broaden the scope of definitions so that it fits into their political narrative. I mean, it is a propaganda organization. If it was an organization, like, I'd have no problem with it if it was an organization that actually fought defamation. Like, because there are a lot of false claims out there about, you know, not just Jews, black people, Asians, Indians, etc., etc. And if the ADL was literally some dude on the Twitter account just like doing live community noting on defamation, that's fine. I get, like, that's maybe that'll be more effective, but what it is right now is, yes, it is a political propaganda organization. But that, you know, I don't know why she would dispute that. So let's look into this. Where did this... Okay. This person, I see her everywhere. Everywhere, dude. It doesn't matter if it's a commentary related tweet, a political related tweet, I mean, how many times I see her like in unrelated communities. How many tweets does she have? 200,000 posts? Okay. Everywhere, dude. For some reason. I don't know why this is. This person. Lydia Kravitz. Interesting stuff going on. Where does this start? Okay, I think it starts here. Just got hate crimed in public, but she concluded what she said. Just got hate crime in public, but she concluded what she said with the lady with the big titties. What happened here? Legit, I hope you're okay. If you aren't joking, very sorry that you've gone through that. Unacceptable and a very scary change in environment recently. Didn't you make an entire video framing her as an anti-Semite in a video commissioned by Brianna Wu? Now you're concerned about her well-being? Okay, I don't agree with Sick here. I think that StarDust can be concerned that this person got hate crimed and like still have made the prior criticism, whether that be bad criticism or dishonest criticism, etc. Like that, like Stardust, like it's not contradictory if Stardust like cares that Frogan got hate crimed or some shit. Brianna Wu never commissioned anything I've made. She got the idea to look into Frogan herself after I've already made my videos. I can think someone is engaging in anti-Semitism and not be okay with them being hurt. Yeah, this last claim is just going to be true. Apologies, I didn't realize framing her as an anti-Semite was your own idea. I'll be more careful next time. Well, I don't think that's what StarDust was saying either, to be clear. I'm just being good faith, okay? I'm just being good faith. Okay, and then I guess the next tweet, which was removed for because it violated the X rules. After that very brief interaction where Sick, like, hold on, give me 2 seconds, guys, 1 sec. Sorry, I'm back. So anyways, after that very brief interaction where I think Sick is being bad faith to Stardust, but like the consequence of being bad faith is so minuscule. It's like a little jab on Twitter. So the original tweet was taken down because it violated the X rules, but luckily Kathy and Rita were able to dig it up, or sorry, they archived it. So let's see. I don't know if like X is like glitching out because like I find it so hard. It seems like this is just the case. I find it hard to believe that this is the next tweet in the exchange. Okay, so we go from you were commissioned by Brianna Wu to frame Frogan as anti-Semitic, and you can't be concerned about her well-being, which I don't think is a good criticism. The latter part, or somehow it's contradictory to be concerned about her well-being. Stardust says, no, I was not commissioned by Brianna Wu, and I can still think she's an anti-Semite and be concerned about her well-being. And I think that that's a fine response, right? The burden to prove a claim is on the person making it. And then in regards to the, I can still think she's an anti-Semite and be concerned about her well-being, or not think she should be hate crimed, is true, right? Those two things don't need to be contradictory. But then we get this. Imagine making up lies about me when I can just tell the truth about you. You sexually assaulted your sister, and you were still salty that you were held accountable for it. Now, I was given some context here that actually makes me, I kind of find this like a bit evil, to be honest with you, to invoke this over such a nothing exchange. Essentially, when Sick was a little kid under the age of 10, he was either 10 or under, allegedly, and I honestly, I'm in favor of believing him, was sexually abused by what I assume to be was an older adult. I don't know the nature of the sexual abuse. I didn't really care to ask him. My assumption would be he was probably molested. And I guess I don't know the context or how this is known by people. So if somebody does know, please fill me in. But I guess he had then, as a 10-year-old, touched his sister. Now, just to be clear, the sister is a victim herself, but you can have cases where you have victims without like a perpetrator per se. A good example of this would be how we agree that minors cannot consent to sex, yet when two minors have sex with one another, we obviously, like, neither of them is a rapist, right? Neither of them is a rapist. In this case, right, I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm using that as an example of where you can have cases where something wrong occurred, but nobody's necessarily a perpetrator. At 10 years old, you have a very basic moral compass, but at 10 years old, you're so young where if you get molested and there was some, and typically there almost always is, there was some behavior by the person molesting you to conceal it by reframing it like sometimes they'll tell the kid that they're playing doctor, or they'll make it seem innocent, or groom you to get you to a point where you'll be molested and then keep your mouth shut about it. But then a byproduct of that is sometimes the kids in question don't immediately realize that anything wrong happened to them. And if they don't think there was anything wrong that happened to them, but still feel the emotional impact of it, many times people reenact their abuse. Children reenact their abuse onto others. Sometimes adults do it too. That's a very different scenario where they do have a developed moral compass and they know what they're doing is wrong. But when you're 10 years old, right, and you've been molested yourself, I don't know the context of it, you don't understand what you're doing. Just to be clear, it's very possible you don't understand that it's wrong because you look to adults for an influence as to what is right and wrong, and an adult, many times a trusted one, did this to you, and now you don't think that this thing is wrong. And then the kid, not, I think there's several reasons for why they do this, whether or not it's to, there's several reasons why a kid might then go and do this, as like a catharsis for what happened to them, or, there's the Bobo doll experiment, right? Where kids who watch their parents be like, I'm pretty sure violent towards a doll, ended up also being violent to the doll. And the reenactment of abuse by very young children is not uncommon. But ultimately, when you're 10 years old, although I feel bad for the sister, this is not something that I would ever hold a 10-year-old accountable for. Right? I would never hold a 10-year-old accountable for this, especially if the behavior doesn't reoccur in adulthood, because it could have been the case of not fully understanding what happened to you and then reenacting it. And it's a tragic reality of this, but ultimately, I don't view the 10-year-old as a sexual assaulter because the 10-year-old doesn't understand what they're doing. So to leave out that he is 10 and to use this against him, where he is also a victim, right? And this was a response to an immediate response as a child to his victimization, to then go and use this against him, is absurd over such a minor exchange. I think it fundamentally misrepresents the difference between perpetrating molestation yourself whilst fully knowing what you're doing and kids reenacting what older adults have done to them. So just to be clear, the sister is a victim. If the sister is mad at Sick, I wouldn't necessarily be able to blame her, right? Because the sister is also a victim if this, if this happened to her, but I don't view him as necessarily a perpetrator. And I think it's like kind of, I don't like to moral frog or whatever the fuck, but I just like, I don't know this Sick guy very well, but I think to use this against him is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like evil. There's a difference between a confused, mentally damaged child, and a knowing not to say that children can't do really bad things knowingly. There are children who do know that something is wrong, in terms of the perpetration of violence or harm against somebody else or small animals, and choose to do it anyways. And that's going to be an indicative of maybe like future diagnosis of psychopathy. But in regards to child sexual assault victims, reenacting it is not going to be necessarily indicative of that. Which is why I saw this really dumb reply from this person who I see reply everywhere. Hold on. Where is it? What is this guy? Oh, here it is. Where the fuck is it? Hold on. Maybe it's here. One sec, bear with me. Oh my, this person tweets so fucking much. Oh my god. Dude, I can't find it. Was like the dumbest reply ever. One sec. One sec. Oh my god, dude. Okay, so she has this, and it's funny she does this because I have kind of familiarity with her reference here. So you were the same age as Mary Bell when she committed her first murder. You can have bad things happen to you and still be a bad person. You can't continuously blame what happened to you as a kid for what you do now. What he does, he was fucking 10. What are you talking about? But this is honestly like one of the negative effects of true crime fan women. Okay, sometimes men too, right? I watch a lot of true crime stuff, but they use this as like a frame of as though watching a documentary or video about some some outlier outlier murderer in terms of, killing multiple people, etc. They use that as like a frame of reference for going about life. And it's like Mary Bell, she did have a tragic childhood, but in her case, she was not reenacting. I'm pretty sure she actively attempted to conceal what she did, indicating she knew it was wrong. And she was a diagnosed psychopath. That's pathological. That goes with you into adulthood, right? Typically now, though, this was in the 50s, they now dissuade the diagnosis of, young people with severe personality disorders. But to use like this one outlier case where like a kid almost became a serial killer as your frame of reference, when it's actually not uncommon for very young children, in an effort to either make sense about what happened to them, or they believe that this thing is okay to do to others, or it was framed to them as good, so they believe they're doing something good to others, to reenact abuse perpetrated against them. Your childhood definitely dictates what kind of adult you're going to be. It makes no sense that you wake up at 18 with them. Well, okay. It does. It does, in the extent of like, I'm sure this guy is still traumatized by being molested, but he now is fully able to comprehend what happened to him and why it was wrong. Okay? The way you view something as a child is not going to necessarily follow into adulthood. Like, there are a lot of situations where I was a kid where I thought, oh, this person's the bad guy or whatever. And then when I became an adult, I viewed it through a new lens, and based on the knowledge or wisdom I've gained in the decade after, that now lead to a different conclusion about why someone did something they did, or whether something that happened was bad or good, that then influences provides like an algorithm or schema for my assessment of situations reminiscent of that going forward. Like, when you're like that young of a kid, you genuinely might not know that what someone did to you to molest you was a bad thing. You're the one who decided to share it with people and act like an asshole. If you didn't act like an asshole, more people would be inclined to believe you've reformed. It's also reformed from what? This is not, you're treating this the same way you treat sexual assault. This is a kid reenacting abuse while they're still a kid. I'm sorry, but no, I don't think he would. The law wouldn't even hold him accountable for this. The law would not hold them accountable for this. So it's like, what? And that's for a good reason. And when you spread false information, like Brianna Wu commissioning StarDust video, she's not going to feel bad about throwing your crimes. Even, it wouldn't be, for him, he would never be, I would literally, I'll give someone money if they can find a prosecutor that can look at this situation as a whole and say, yeah, had I known about this, I would have, like, charges would have been pressed. He would not have been held accountable for it. He's 10 years old. He's a 10-year-old that's been molested, doesn't understand what happened to him, and is now reenacting it. That's very different than someone that understands what happened to them, understands that it's bad, understands that it is sexual, and then goes and does that to somebody despite that. He might not have he probably didn't realize it was sexual either, because he's fucking 10. Like, I honestly, like, the people who are, like, using this against him are just not qualified to ever, like, speak on matters relating to, like, childhood sexual abuse. Because, yes, this is, like, a way that a lot of victims who, as kids, end up becoming great people with with eventually normal sexual development, that live happy lives, that some many cases advocate for the rights of other children. This is actually not an uncommon way a very young child would process and react to what has happened to them. He's fucking 10. Now, if this was an ongoing pattern that he's already been told off for, that could be indicative of something inherent to his personality. I was reading this story the other day. Dude, this one was actually crazy. I kind of want to watch this briefly. This is like actually one of the most insane stories I've seen recently. Hold on. Where is it, dude? Hold on. Dude, why can't I find this? Hold on. Here it is. Got it. I think I got it. Okay, essentially what happened was, okay, I can't find the specific video I saw. I can only find some news reports. Where is it? Essentially, okay, a 10-year-old confessed that 2 years prior, he had taken a gun from his and shot and killed, when he was 7, some guy in the woods. Okay? He wasn't even considered a suspect, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he confessed or they caught him. I don't remember the exact details of it. But, like, it was very hard to believe a 7-year-old committed murder. And typically, being that young, you're not really going to get, like, a harsh sentence for that. But then it turns out that he had a history of, like, hurting other kids, killing animals for fun around the neighborhood. Like, killing, like, fucking, like, dogs and, like, and in this case, you see this repetitive behavior that's indicative of a fundamental lack of empathy, that would be like a decent predictor of what kind of person he may become as an adult, right? Because the behavior is indicative of something pathological. A child victim of molestation who doesn't even realize that what happened to them was wrong, that goes and like reenacts the touching on another kid, that is not necessarily pathological in any regard. Like, that's the difference. There's a difference between, you know, psychopathy and reenacting abuse perpetrated on you while you're still a child. You were mad at your family later for remembering it, if I recall correctly. Why was he mad at his family? What was the details of that? What were the details of that? Like, yeah, ideally, I think Sick should be empathetic to his sister potentially not liking him, obviously, as a result, because his sister is also a victim of something. But in my opinion, the only perpetrator was the guy that did this to him, right? Without that guy in the equation, nothing would have happened to the sister. Once again, it's a really unfortunate scenario where nobody is really, except the guy that did this, nobody's like, you can't, you have two people that are victimized, and the 10-year-old, he's not, like, honestly, like, to view him as like a genuine perpetrator of sexual assault, when he probably, once again, a lot of times they don't even realize that what they're doing is sexual. They were touched, they were they were told it was a good thing, or that it was just playing doctor, or that it was, you know, a lot of times, you know, the molester lies about what they're doing, and then they go and reenact it onto another kid. Sick had a very long reply explaining it. Can you link it? It's just, it's shitty. It's really fucking shitty. Also, I don't know why he's her profile, but then I guess I didn't say you denied it, but you quite literally seem very bitter that you were held accountable for victimizing someone. He's not there's no accountability here. There's no accountability here because he's a 10-year-old reenacting abuse. He doesn't understand that he's doing something wrong. He doesn't understand what he is doing. I empathize with you. I don't. No, you fucking don't. Oh my god, dude. You obviously don't. I empathize with you. No, you don't. But you act like a psycho and obsessively reply to specific women who it's convenient for you to target. Okay, why is she emphasizing women? This guy Sick is also on like the big and obviously, right, nothing wrong with being anti-Destiny, but he's like one of the anti-DGGers that talks a lot about Destiny. This isn't just a woman thing. Why is, like, it's very disingenuous to emphasize that part. Who it's convenient for you to target to elevate your own vendettas. You know that it's in to be shitty to me, and you thought you could get away with being a dick to me on multiple occasions without me hitting back. I will not take it. It's clear you still want some sort of justice for what you feel your sister inflicted on you. But I'm not your... Oh, holy shit, dude! Are you serious? Wait, so she's a kid... Dude, this is so gross. What the fuck? So she's now accusing him. He's channeling his rage at his sister. That's why he's being mean to StarDust on Twitter. Not because of her associations. Not because of her alignment with, like, Diorio and the pro-Ethan crowd, who Sick has obviously disliked every single member of. But it's because he's angry at his sister. What the fuck? This is, like, manipulative as shit. The emphasis on women, as though, like, that's, like, she's trying to, like, make it fit into a narrative. Like, he's taking out his anger for his sister onto women. Right? The wording she's choosing to use and emphasize is meant to lead you to that conclusion. When, in fact, he's equally as mean to StarDust as he would be to, like, the male people that are adjacent to DGG. Doesn't he tweet about Diorio and shit? I don't know the details once again. You know, I don't think that, I think his sister is, once again, is also a victim and entitled to her reaction. But at the same time, I don't think there's need to be like, this guy needs to be held accountable. I view him as a victim. That's all I view him as in this entire story. Whoa. I've never denied what happened. People know what happened because I chose to talk about it openly on 3 separate occasions. I've never been against the separation of me and my family member during childhood. I've never condoned my actions. I've never had animosity towards the people who did the correct thing to prevent further behaviors. My sole grievance was people in my real life continuing this. Yes! 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 Yes. That's actually a very valid reason to be angry. That they still view him like that they fundamentally misunderstand the nature of what he did. The action was equivalent to molestation, but the motivation, the understanding, the pathology behind it, etc., has no markers of that. It is a child reenacting abuse perpetrated against him, which isn't, if caught, right, and addressed, is not going to be indicative. And as he grows into adulthood and understands what happened to him, right, he's not going to be a fucking, like, he's not going to be a risk. Some victims of childhood sexual abuse grow up to become perpetrators, but they're perpetrators in the fact that they know what happened to them, they know that it's wrong, and they're choosing to do it to others. And they get sexually aroused by doing it. That's a very rare subset, right? That's a very rare subset. There's a difference between someone doing it for the sake of sexual gratification and someone doing it because they don't understand what it is and they just know what happened to them and they're fucking 10 years old, right? I've never condoned my okay. My sole grievance was people in my real life continuing the stigma as if I was a perpetual vector for harm, for a thing that most abused children do grow out of. It's true. It's just true. For a thing that most abused children do grow out of. I've only ever blocked people who choose to bring it up while conveniently sidestepping the very real sexual crimes grown men like Destiny have committed. StarDust, I made one troll comment about not so erudite, and you had a Twitter meltdown over the course of a couple hours. I made a comment about the video you made, not commissioned by Brianna Wu, and you were weaponizing my sexual trauma and my sister's sexual trauma, talking about accountability as if it's ever been relevant to my character. 23, he's 33. Holy shit, dude. Unk. As if it, okay, that was my intrusive thoughts 1. As if it's ever been relevant to my character 23 years after the fact. Sincerely, you were a joke. The fact that you think on principle or anything else is a W is hilarious. I can guarantee you what people are liking and memeing about this situation, and it's the same people unwilling to hold their very dear 38-year-old pedophile revenge porn enthusiast, voyeur-loving streamer accountable. I won't address this situation with you again. I hate you on principle. In the same way I hate all people who look at child victims the way you're doing right now. It is wrong people leverage Destiny's child abuse. It's wrong when they did it to Milo Yiannopoulos, and it's wrong when they do it to me. When you do it to me, and when people weaponize my family members' trauma. Shit, dude. I think he's, listen. I think he's genuine. I have nothing, you know, the guy follows me and likes my tweets sometimes. I'm really not like, obviously I'm against every criticism that these people would make of Destiny. I agree with, but I'm not like, I haven't like made it like a core tenet of my existence online, to be like an anti-DGGer or whatever. Some people do, and it's like, if that's your like person you want to A-log, that's your thing to do, right? So I have no reason to really defend him, but I do understand, not from personal experience, but I do understand the ways in which child sexual abuse affects children, and that yes, actually, it is not uncommon for children with no malice to reenact abuse perpetrated against them. There are kids that can do it with malice, to be clear, but there are other markers there to assume malice. Like evidence to conceal what happened, evidence that they knew what they were doing was wrong, repetition of the behavior. But yeah, this was very well said. And it does offer insight into, because there is a stigma that if you were sexually abused as a child, somehow, like, as an adult, you're going to be more likely to be a danger to kids or some shit. The people that perpetrate child sexual abuse are pedophiles. They derive sexual gratification from it and have no impulse control, and that's what leads to the act, and in many cases, reoffense of said act. A child reenacting it is not, at 10 years old, is not deriving sexual gratification from it. That's the fundamental difference, and is the sexual gratification part that is going to be the marker for reoffense. But that doesn't change what happened to the sister. Once again, I empathize with her equally. Just because I don't think, just because I view Sick as a victim, and feel bad all around for the guy, doesn't mean I don't also feel bad for his sister, right? I'm sure he does too. If she doesn't want to see him as a result of that, I can't blame her. This is how molestation is able to, I'm not going to ask Sick, but if I ventured to guess, it was probably repetitive and probably from a trusted adult. But this is how this continues against a child, because many times, once again, they don't realize that the touching that is happening to them is wrong, which would lead to no dilemma in going and as a way to channel it, doing it to someone else. Because the child at that young of an age does not understand always what is happening to them is wrong. That's why in a child appropriate manner, you don't need to get into the gross details. You should be educating your kids about, like, in a way where you don't need to explain why, the details, but like, yeah, teaching your kids that, like, adults are not supposed to touch you in certain places, and you can always tell mom and dad if that happens or whatever. Because once again, many times the kid doesn't realize. Did you say she was gonna? No, I didn't say she was gonna be coming on tonight. I don't think she would. And to be honest, like, I don't know. I find this, I don't know. I find this is like a very enraging story, to me. And I don't like this at all. I think this was such a fucking low blow. And I think that the stigmatization, she's contributing to the stigmatization of child sex abuse survivors, and that is something we need to fight, right? Anyways, I'm not finding fault with you for being a victim. I'm finding fault with you for being angry that you were held accountable for victimizing someone else. It's no longer accountability if, as an adult, he is still being treated like he's a risk to kids. That's a misunderstanding of why he did what he did and what he did that is leading to stigmatization. When he is a victim, he should be being supported by his family. I understand distancing him from the sister as a kid, because he still might fully not be able to grasp, I doubt he did immediately, the severity of what it was that he did. And once again, I would not blame his sister for not talking to him, because even if I don't think he's, like, accountable, that doesn't change the fact that the sister was victimized and she associates his face with being the one that did it. So, and she's acting like she actually cares too, which is like the disgusting part to me. You wanted a cheap dunk on the guy. You wanted a fucking cheap dunk on him. And people be like, a lot of people who do bad shit were treated bad in childhood. Yet those people are typically psychopaths, right? The serial killers you talk about are people that into adulthood, they suffer from something pathological that's a combination of nature and nurture. that has led to them engaging in antisocial behavior in adulthood because they understand it's wrong and just don't care. I can't believe I have to like explain for a community that talks about cases of like there's pedophiles and sexual assault and everything. For a community that discusses this so much, I can't believe that this is even there's a misunderstanding about this. It's honestly like, to me, it's like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Like, there is no way you don't know this. Holy fuck. Just bad shit all around, man. And yeah, I feel bad for everyone involved here. Not for StarDust though. This was like, I don't care. I think this was bad. I think that this was just a really gross way to act. Typically, the abuse is more than just molested. It's like, yes. There are markers in the action itself that can indicate motive as well, right? Someone like Mary Bell, she was a psychopath, and she, like, even though she grew up, she was a victim of all, she didn't know love. I think her mom was a prostitute that would bring men home, that would do shit to her, etc., etc. For her, she would physically harm the kids. It was like, she, like, would feel gratification from their suffering. That's indicative of a psychopath. Not a kid that is doing something that he doesn't understand because it happened to him. Actions, your assessment of actions, whether they're good or bad, you'll only look at the action itself. But your assessment of the person, you should always be asking yourself when looking at an action, why did this person do this? To see, like, the effects that it would have on their, like, moral stand. Like, because the motive is actually going to be very important. All right, we got a new tech tone video from my favorite person that I just love covering.
Hey, guys.
Ow.
Welcome back to another one of these, whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah, like the stream, people. Like, did I miss any donos? Hold on. No, I did not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the stream, as always, you could donate through Super Chats, Streamlabs. Helps me out greatly. Helps me justify this to the world as a part-time job. So that's always appreciated. If not, totally understand. You can like up, sub up, join the Discord, clip like hell, start clipping.
I don't want to ruin your immersion. This is the same day that I just recorded the...
$2 from Belinda! First dono of the stream. Parrot character putting his hand in front of his mouth while blushing. Well, thank you so fucking much, Belinda, for the first dono of the stream.
Everybody's lying to you video, but I got a lot on my mind.
Imagine being a grown-ass fucking man drinking Mountain Dew. Like, if you're a grown adult still drinking soda, you need to, like, gain some self-discipline. I like sweets. I understand liking sweets. But, like, something that you can, like, you could get, like, a can of Dr. Pepper. The daily recommended allowance of added sugars for an adult is, what, 20 milligrams? A small can of Dr. Pepper has, like, 60 milligrams. I mean, imagine what kind of desserts you could be eating instead of the Dr. Pepper. Yo, Belinda with another fucking 3. Thank you so much. Pair character with lovey-dovey eyes blowing red hearts in the air. Thank you so much, Belinda. 4 from Belinda. Pair character exaggeratedly stretching his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. Well, I got it, so I appreciate it. $2 from Willie M. Love you, pal. Thank you so much, buddy.
On a bitch, and I kind of just want to share some knowledge with you guys that I've learned over my very...
There's more to the 6 StarDust drama? You can call it hitting back, but if a man posted you like that, it'd be chaos. That's the double standard everyone pretends to see. Oh, I didn't cover this because I don't really know the context. Somebody said that he voluntarily uploaded this to the internet. Somebody said he did. That's why I would love for him to call in. I was not gonna have him call in about his fucking, the other part of this drama. But the nude allegation in particular, because he is comparing this, like, the Destiny shit. And I think that, like, if this was something he put on the internet that he then wanted to conceal after the fact, it's not going to be the same by that nature. And then also, she's not including any nudity in the image. So I wouldn't consider this comparable at all. I don't think this is, like, a great criticism. Kayvon in the chat. Kayvon, who's definitely not another chatter under an alias.
Very long. 31 years of life. Oh, man. Oh, man. Grandpa over here. I saw a lot of people saying, by the way, Techno, don't you ever call yourself fucking old ever again?
He didn't know. Sick, call in. Call in, man. I'd love, like, the context. I won't talk. You don't have to talk about the other segment. I don't expect you to.
And I'm fucking 34 and you're making me feel like I'm made of dust.
Or type out some context and I'll read it. Dude, why is my finger swelling again when I put this fucking ring on? What is going on, dude? What is going on? Okay, give me 2 seconds. I need to get this off once again before it swells up and I can't, because a trip to the ER to get this cut off wouldn't be fun. Give me 2 seconds. No, it's not fat because it's fine when I put it on, and then all of a sudden it starts swelling up. Okay, that hurt like fuck, but it worked. Okay, it worked. It got caught on the... What is, like, the little grooved... I don't know what this, These are your knuckles, but what are, like, the little grooved area of your fingers? Where, like, right here? I don't know what... For some reason, I don't know what that's called. I don't know why. But as I'm getting it off, it, like, gets caught on that end. I have to really, like, pull on it to get it off. Okay, apparently Sick is gonna send me. He's working right now. I get it. I didn't really tell him in advance, so. Yeah, Sick. If you're available in 2 hours, that's fine. I'll be live. I'll be live in 2 hours. So if you want to call in 2 hours or send me some contextualizing it, I would be happy to address that.
Sorry, guys. You got to understand. I used to play fucking mobile games to fucking toddlers way back in the day. So all these 14-year-olds are like, oh, by the way, this guy's 28. A fucking unk over here. So, yeah, you don't have to feel very old very quickly. Side note, hope...
He's 28? 28? And he's... I got it. I'm getting on finasteride, dude. I'm getting on finasteride. I'm like, dude, yeah, I'm in my 20s, in my prime, full head of hair. Is this what 28 does to you? Is this what 28 does to you, bro?
Hopefully, I will be getting LASIK surgery for my eyeballs very soon because they're not working as good as they used to, as well as hopefully I'm getting my jaw fixed. Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to talk to somebody. You guys don't know.
Who is watching this, by the way? Listen to him talk about getting LASIK. Which, by the way, LASIK for some... I haven't looked at surgery success rates, but all I've heard is bad shit about LASIK, and I read some story where this kid actually got it and then killed himself as a result of it. I don't know what the whole deal with that is.
A fight way back in the day, and this Korean kid, jump knee striked me in the jaw, and then I grabbed him in the air and I slammed him on the pavement, and I never saw him again. Maybe he's dead. Who knows? But my jaw's been fucked up ever since. This was over a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And me taking Taekwondo. It's a story for later. Whenever I come back to streaming, I'll tell that story. But the fucking weird thing with my jaw, I hate it too. It sucks.
To be fair, we watch you, so it's not crazy that people watch him.
Anyways, I want to talk to you guys about something that's very important to me, for me to talk to you about, as well as for you to kind of really process this and for you to really think about this. And it's the whole idea of what is a good person? Who are these good people? And I want to explain to you why.
This is like, dude, yeah, I want to listen to Epstein give like a seminar on pedophilia. The fucking raging narcissist, verifiable liar, just a horrible shit person, wants to teach you about what a good person is.
What society...
He makes a video. This is the thing too. He is very like adamant on superficially portraying himself as a good person, because he really cares what you think. That like he does a video, which is an excuse to go at the people he doesn't like, talking about how disgusted and angry he is about the Emiru situation. But he makes most of the video about him and the people he doesn't like. He barely talks about her relative to the overall runtime of the video.
He portrays to you as the good guys, good people. Good people are not good people. That's probably the name of the YouTube video. So what do I mean by that? Good people aren't good people. Well, I kind of want to talk to you about something that people, I think, in today's day and age are generally very uninformed of, as well as due to a overwhelmingly negative extent.
Don't rush sick. Don't rush sick. I'll be on for 3 more hours. If you could make it, that's great. If you can't, totally fine. We could, if it's still relevant, arrange some other time.
Do something that appears good, but is actually quite bad. And that is acceptance. Now, why is acceptance bad? Acceptance is bad is when, oh man, it's that thing again where my right arm looks really big and my left arm looks really small, so it looks like I'm a fucking charger from Left 4 Dead 2, or I'm just a guy
jerking it to too much fucking hentai. Dude, Nux is sending him his like monthly recommendations. Techie just can't control himself. It's just like he literally has like a drum of fucking baby oil in his room. Send more Nux.
The crazy masturbation addiction, which I am used to be. Anyways. By the way, boys, if you're jerking off out there, loosen your grip a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to get erectile dysfunction, because when you fucking squeeze your dick as hard as you can, it makes it very hard to. You know what? We'll get into that stream. Anyways.
Huh? Excuse me? Sir, like, half your audience... I'd reckon that, like, a good portion of your audience is not 18. Why are you telling us that your dick doesn't work because you were fucking jerking it too hard?
Yeah, acceptance. Not always a great thing. And the reason why I say that is because people who are seen as, you did something nice, or, wow, this guy is so kind, are people who are accepting of everything. When in reality, they're just pussies. Now, the reason why I say that is because we're in a society where...
By the way, masturbation is degenerate. Don't do it.
People who are portrayed as being good are, I love this, I love that, I'm open to all manners of life, everyone is beautiful to me. And that sounds really good. It's just like communism. Communism sounds great. Wow, everybody gets everything the same.
This guy really understands communism. This guy really understands communism. He definitely isn't watching. By the way, someone recommended this, like, remember that, like, Templar guy? He did, like, a video being like, Charlie is talking about Trump potentially engaging in insider trading while Trump has negotiated the most historic deal for peace in the Middle East, okay? Charlie has the... How's your deal, little bro? How's your fucking deal going? How's your deal going? Me, I know nothing about politics. I read it, and I immediately understand this is never gonna last. And Not only it took, how long did it last? Like 3 days, 4 days?
Amazing. Too bad it won't work because corruption exists in this world, as well as what we're going to talk about today on being accepting of everything can lead to a very slippery slope, as well as completely obliterate our youth for not knowing when the buck stops and when to tell your kids, well, little Timmy, in fact, you're not a dinosaur. You're actually not an Apache attack helicopter, even though you really think that you are.
Helicopter. Identify as an attack helicopter.
This fucking hits, bro. Anyway, so we have a lot of these content creators, a lot of the LA scene where they're just seen as very like fucking phone call.
Also, regardless of your like feelings on you know the being transgender or whatever, to think that this is comparable or is anything comparable to childhood imagination is like absurd when you understand how like gender dysphoria functions. Like even transphobes can agree that these people, when their gender identity is not reaffirmed, are in psychological distress as adults. Okay? There's obviously something more to that than mere childhood imagination. So I don't know like where this notion is coming from, that it's like pretending like you're a dinosaur as a kid. It's not.
Jesus, sorry, hopefully that didn't kill the video. A lot of people in the LA scene are very like, oh, we love everybody. Well, I want to just take you on a little line of thought, and I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on my thoughts, which is, okay, so body positivity movement. Do we all remember that? Yes. Oh, being fat is beautiful. You're beautiful the way you are. No, you're not. If you're fat, you're fucking disgusting. No ifs, ands, or buts. You need to get that shit together because you are killing yourself. And I am not going to sit here and try to pretend that I'm a good person by telling fucking fat fuck Lauren McGee that they're beautiful the way they are. That way they can die at 40. For example, I have a buddy called Shinya.
You don't need to affirm. I've been kind of harsh to fat people. I was one, okay? I was fat for a period of time. You don't need to, you know, like I'm against the complete social ostracization and not treating people like serious human beings by virtue of them being fat. At the same time, I agree that we shouldn't glorify it or like lie to people that it's beautiful, because yeah, it isn't beautiful, right? You're gonna be far less likely to get a partner that way, unless you're getting with someone who has like a feeder fetish, and in that case you should not be getting with them because they're gonna be slowly killing you, right? But simultaneously, I think that if you treat fat people like shit, what that might result in weight reduction, but it's also going to come with like an eating disorder. I think that that's not going to be helpful at all.
Very fat, very good person, however. And I have never once told him, hey, Shinya, I love you for who you are. Nope, I haven't. Now, I do love the guy, and I mean it. I fucking love this dude. And when
I've never heard of a fat person that lost weight because someone told them they were ugly. I've never, like, I know that's not like a good metric for determining the efficacy of something. But I've just never, like, when does that work?
I love someone, I tell them what they need to hear. And I say, hey, bro, you're going to fucking die. You need to get into the gym. You need to change your life, as well as many of my other fat friends. I have taken them to the gym. I have given them the knowledge that they need to get better, rather than saying,
I think that's good. No, to be clear, I think that's good, right? I think that's good. A big problem you face for people who are overweight, obese, etc., is they don't really know where to start or what to do. If like you as a friend, if they're willing, are gonna like teach them like basic concepts about like calories in, calories out, exercise, metabolism, protein, etc. And you're like teaching them what to do in the gym and helping them work through their fears, because a lot of them are scared of going to the gym, right? Because they think they're gonna be bullied or whatever. But the reality is, right? Someone said it best, like bullying a fat guy at the gym is like bullying a cancer patient with like a chemo drip in their arm, right? So I think that's good. But I don't like the narrative that you also need to say is, like, you look fucking disgusting.
I'm so kind by saying, I accept you for who you are. Meanwhile, I'll be reading their obituary in 3 years. Absolutely not am I going to be one of these people.
Okay, that's a better angle. Saying, I really value you as a person, telling them all the great things they offer to the world, and explaining to them that I don't want to lose you, and I'm worried about you. I'm worried about your health, and I think I can help you. I want to help you. So, and then making them an offer where you can kind of slowly, you don't throw everything at them at once, but you can kind of slowly get them into the habit of working out. But like that's a much better angle, because it's letting them know that they're a valuable human being, and the reason you want them to lose weight is because you value them.
That doesn't make me bad. That makes me someone who cares. It's the same thing with parents and their children. You're not a good parent if a little Timmy wants a soda, a little Timmy wants a Nerd's Rope, a little Timmy wants ice cream. You're not a bad parent if you say, no, Timmy, it's not good for you. They might cry. They might say, wow, that's so mean. I really want it. Well, that fucking
Wow, this is really, really hard-hitting insight that, like, isn't just, like, basic fucking reasoning.
sucks because it's not good for you. And I'm going to tell you what's not good for you because you need to know that because maybe you're too stupid to understand that I will be the bad guy in your life. But me being the bad guy is actually being the guy who's trying to help you the most. Whereas you have the other, you're in a fucking divorced marriage and you have the mom that gives you the games, the toys, the candy. They don't make you do shit. And congratulations, you're now raising a fat fuck delinquent that has no skills in real life. They have no discipline and they're going to fail in modern society. But my God, did you seem like the fuck?
Or you may end up raising, Iron Mike may end up raising a guy that mistreats women, is a habitual liar, is completely self-absorbed. He doesn't understand when it's going to be about somebody else and not him. You could raise a kid like that, for example.
Parents, do you understand what I'm getting at right now? Telling people, you're not a good person if you enable people. You're not a good person if you just tell everybody what they need to hear. Good people are
Yo, Cal, thank you so much for the $5 with the keep it up. Much appreciated, buddy. That puts us nearly a quarter of the way to Streamly goal. Thanks to the... Oh, and Luna Lizzie with the 4. Thank you so much for the pair. Thanks to the generous support of my best friends, Kalora Vetla, Willie M, Belinda, Luna. They keep us running. You could donate to help us out. Super Chat, Streamlabs. Another great way to support is to like the fucking stream.
going to tell you what you need to hear, even when you maybe don't want to hear it. Now, there is a fine line, because obviously some people will tell you what they think you need to hear and they're wrong. It's hard to be right. It's hard to really get through to people, and it's very hard to not force what you think on other people. However,
if somebody like Tectone was actually helping a fat person do this, I highly doubt... I'm not necessarily... I believe that even good... I think that all good deeds are selfish to some extent. But it would be something purely for the sake of bragging about it, with my understanding of who he is.
do your research, really contemplate what it is that you're about to say to somebody, and really try to put yourself in their shoes, and make sure when you tell them what you think they need to hear, that it really is coming from a place of truth and from a place of urgency. Hopefully that makes sense. It's very, very, very difficult. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Now, here's the other thing with mental illnesses. I'm going to kind of get you guys to kind of understand where I'm coming from. There's a lot of mental illnesses in this world. There's many, many, many.
Wow.
Illnesses. There's schizophrenia, where people hear voices, they see things. There's depression, where people are very sad for no particular reason. There's bipolar, where you get very angry, you get very happy, you get very sad very, very, very quickly. There's gender dysphoria.
What?
For no particular reason. There's bipolar, where you get very angry, you get very happy, you get very sad very, very, very quickly.
That's not true at all. That's just like blatantly false. That's more indicative of something like BPD. That's not that is not what bipolar is, to be clear. It is sometimes you can have something like cyclothymia, I think, where it's on the bipolar spectrum and phases are shorter and the mania is less intense. But bipolar is not very quickly. A manic episode can last weeks to months. A depressive episode can last weeks to months. It typically isn't shorter than a few weeks. It's not very quickly.
There's gender dysphoria, where you think, oh, I'm this gender, or I'm this gender, or, furries. I'm a dog. You're not a bad person.
That's bipolar 1 is mania and depression. Bipolar 2 is just depressive phases, if I remember correctly, right?
If you tell someone to not listen to their mental illnesses. Now,
I'm not bipolar. I'm not bipolar. The media has lied about me from day one. I'm not bipolar.
I kind of struggle with this because this one's kind of very touchy on the internet, but I have a big issue right now with, well, let me give an example. Let's say someone is schizophrenic. Are you a good person? You say, yes, little Timmy, listen to the voices in your head. Trust me, they're telling you great things. You're gonna fucking kill. Yeah, they're watching you. Yes, all those voices in your head, they're right. I don't really think that's a good thing to say. Bipolar, someone's freaking the fuck out of nothing.
That? Nobody is doing this, by the way. Nobody's doing this.
No, you're absolutely completely valid in your emotions. Me dropping that fucking piece of pop.
Bipolar 2 is hypomania. I think it can have hypomania, but hypomania is more found in cyclothymia, if I remember correctly.
Court was completely justified for you to stab me in the fucking neck. No, you're not a good person. And the other thing is that I have a very hard time encouraging people to listen to the voices in their head that might lead them down to...
Who is doing this? Who is telling the schizophrenic guy, yeah, they really are poisoning you? Except the internet, okay? The internet has enabled, because you can find specific communities that share your same beliefs, and then go into an echo chamber reaffirming said beliefs. The internet has created schizophrenic communities that do reaffirm each other's beliefs. Specifically, there are communities of people who believe the government is electronically targeting them with sound waves. There are groups of people that believe they're being gang stalked. There are groups of people that are in part of a community that believe they have this like non-existent disease that the government is covering up. A big sign, it's called the matchbox sign. They'll show up to doctors' offices with evidence of the disease, like a scab or blemish, inside of a matchbox to show to the doctor and be like, look, it's real.
And suicide on a coin flip. Yes, I find 42% suicidal thought rate pretty alarming. And I have a hard time really feeling like I'm a good person by telling people, yeah, you do that. It's just not really something
Who is doing this?
really want to do. It worries me, and those numbers are staggering. I know a lot of people don't like talking about per capita, and people call that racist, but I'm sorry, if something is more likely to happen at that staggering of a rate at this early
Dude, the dog whistling right now is fucking insane. You're such a pussy. Just say what you're thinking about.
on without as much research as we need, it doesn't really make me feel good encouraging that type of behavior. Now, I will say, going out of your way to absolutely shit on anybody who has committed to that behavior isn't really a great thing to do. However, it's not my position to really tell you what you can or cannot do. I'm just here to tell you what I do. It's scary how there's this kind of culture in today's world where whenever the new thing happens,
And also, these people like to selectively utilize statistics, by the way. It's like there's collective guilt amongst black people for higher crime rates. We'll totally ignore the fact that they're, that higher crime rates are correlated with socioeconomic status, and black people are disproportionately advantaged socioeconomically. We'll just ignore that and present the statistic on its own without explaining a reason, so you can just be drawn to the conclusion that it's something inherent to black people, right? But then they'll ignore why is it that men wildly disproportionately rape in comparison to women? Why is it that men, like, then it'll be like, oh, you're just like a feminism is destroying the world, etc. But it's like, no, in comparison, you're more likely to be raped by a man than a woman.
you have to immediately support it. And if you don't, you're considered a racist, a Nazi, a bigot, this phobe, that phobe. When in
Where's
reality,
the video about he wants to talk on his break about anything he can so he can get like the live feedback that like provides the gratification of his existence, because he needs people to perceive him a certain way to feel good.
people are just trying to figure out what it is that we're saying, why it is that we're saying it, and what's going to happen when we do say it. And people need to be more understanding of people on the fence, just like they want us to be more understanding of them jumping over the fence. And I feel
Like, it's Schrodinger's collective accountability. Okay, if something is disproportionate amongst a group that we have interest in defending, then it's just an act of individuals, and you're generalizing. But if it's a group that we don't care about or don't like, now, actually, the disproportionate bad behavior is indicative of all members of the group, and they should be treated as a collective.
like that one-way understand this is really unhealthy and honestly really not productive for our society. And I really feel like something's got to give eventually, and I'm not really sure what it is that's going to give. But yeah, we live in these worlds full of rainbows and butterflies and sunshines, and well, it's not really that great now, is it?
How out of touch is this person? Who is living in this world of rainbows and butterflies and sunshine? Okay, even the overtly happy people many times are fucking secretly miserable. I would love to meet someone that thinks everything is rainbows and butterflies and sunshine right now.
There was a quote of a guy on Twitter who says, all of these people who seem so nice to you in content creation, all of these people who are revered as the wholesome ones, when something horrific happens to you in your life, all of those people will be gone. And the people who will then be there are all of the people who you've been warned about that are horrific human beings, and then you meet them, and they're actually pretty chill.
He's talking about himself. This is a way to glaze himself, right? I don't care. Tectone is used to talking his way out of stuff. He's used to manipulating. That's why he's a totally open book, chill guy when he's talking to Shamu, until he realizes Shamu has receipts and specific examples to point out the specifics of his contradictions and wrongdoing. Then he closes, right? He says, like, I'm sure if I met you and had no context, Tectone, I can see through you, actually. At some point, I'd realize this, like, I just don't like this guy. He's a fucking douche or whatever. But, like, the average person, you'd probably be able to talk them into liking you if they didn't know the context of who the real you is. Anybody can present a facade, right? The question is, if they knew the reality of your previous actions, lies, etc., and had the context, Would they still like you? Would they still think you're cool? Probably not.
Was said by a person by the name of Milo, and I think that statement really rings true. It's very easy to be happy-go-lucky and accepting and supporting the current thing because that's what everybody wants you to do. They want this new thing to come out and they want you to blindly swallow it, whether that's the No Kings, every new gender identity movement, the fucking BLM immediately accept the whole George Floyd as our martyr, and you can't question anything, you can't bring up any autopsies, you can't talk about anything because if you do, you're a Nazi.
No, you can. It's just the people that do that only do it because they want to give Derek Chauvin an out. Because anyone who actually even looks into this possibility that it was a fentanyl overdose, who has a basic understanding of science, intoxicants, etc., realizes that what happened to him qualifies as murder. People who can see all the evidence and still reach the conclusion that he was not murdered are people that probably have some interest vested in this and denying it. And those types of people, it's the same thing with like the Holocaust, for example. It's never really just people asking questions. I have never found a Holocaust denier that is not racist in general, right? You never have I've never, maybe more so now that like this kind of shit is being mainstreamed by like streamers or whatever, but like typically your like Holocaust deniers are all people who beforehand had idealized the Germans, are just generally racist and supported their ideology at the time, etc. So they present it like they're just asking questions when you're not. You're trying to look for evidence that's going to support the conclusion you've already come up with. You're not being open-minded.
And I'm sorry. I just want to let you know that these people that you're listening to, they're just looking you in the fucking face and they're lying to your ass. It is, and I mean this genuinely, it is so...
Like you when you were trying to tell us that the document was fake because you couldn't have made fun of her for not paying the rent, because she did pay the rent, even though there's evidence that at another point in time she was not paying the rent and you made fun of her for it on stream.
So fucking easy to be a good guy on the internet. It's so easy. It's so easy to know what to say because you just go onto Twitter, you go onto trending, you see whatever posts have the most likes, and then you just shit that out of your mouth. It's not hard. You see the streamers that get the most viewers, and you say, wow, I really like that guy, they're so nice. And then
like this would go like really hard. This is like, I'm 14 and this is deep, like personified. He's like he's getting shit either blatantly wrong or he's like attacking scenarios that everyone would agree are bad that don't actually happen, right? There's not like, he's not contributing anything.
Blazing. People trying to make corrections to this world, people trying to right the wrongs of this world, they're the ones following the path of the most resistance because it's easy to go with the flow. It's easy to eat candy every day. But the problem is that sometimes you got to tell people what they don't want to hear because you know that's what's going to lead to their betterment long term. Those uncomfortable talks are where people grow the most.
He's 28.
And going with the flow and letting everybody do what they want all the time is very dangerous. It is. It just is. And I think that people really need to start taking note.
Yeah, I'm gonna start making videos like this, guys. Schizophrenically sitting on my couch, just like rambling.
Of behaviors like this, because the events that have been transpiring over the past several weeks of us witnessing
it's a rough 28, man. It's a fucking rough 28.
Real time, so many people looking to the camera and lying to you are the same people who say, I love everything, I love everybody, I'm supportive of the popular thing, I said the thing that you wanted me to say. I'm sorry, guys.
I would much rather prefer that than watching people like this. I would much rather prefer a channel where I could just ramble, honestly, in comparison to this.
There are so many fucking liars in this world. It's insane. And the more I step back, and this is why I'm loving this little break that I'm doing, which fucking, I've been done with this break for like 2 weeks. I'm good to go. I feel great. But the more that I stay away, the more I can observe. Because when you exist in an environment, it's hard to be aware of everything. But when you can observe an environment, then you see everything. And I've seen so many people for who they are. I've seen so many people for what they do. And it's mind-boggling. It's eye-opening. But I can firmly say there's not a single person that I like that I'm not liked back by. Everybody I have in my life right now is exactly who I want to be in my life right now because I know these people.
Cope, I'm bored. All right, what else is going on? You know, I've actually never listened to the Chud Logic convo with Tectone. Believe it or not. Is that something that we would be interested in checking out? But real quick, in other news, Caveman Films.
Hey, everybody.
The guy who doesn't understand why he, like, just to be clear, this guy's entire fucking channel went into a nosedive as he went for these like prolonged periods of not uploading. He has not changed his formula since like 2012. He thinks it's like the algorithm's fault and the suppression of his content that he's not getting views. He's somebody that, there are people that get big by chance and people that get big because of intentional strategy, and he's the former. You see this in the fact that even though his channel is dead, he does get like some videos that occasionally do well, but then doesn't repeat the formula. Like, what if you did another Do We Still Like video on like old games and shit? Like what if you turn this into a series? Because you were doing 7K views, and then you go up to 120K, but he doesn't repeat it. He doesn't repeat it because he doesn't understand. Doesn't make a video for a year and then claims YouTube is suppressing his content, coming back like months later. So this series progressed with him about to lose his apartment, not understanding why he wasn't getting views, blaming external forces instead of his like resistance to change, and then him getting a job at Best Buy.
Hey everybody, my name is Dan or Caveman Films. Welcome to hopefully my last video about this topic, at least until I get to North Carolina. I wanted to give you guys an update, ask for a little bit more help, and just let you know where the money went so we can, get on the same page together. So first off, I want to thank you, everyone that supported me. It really means a lot, and I don't want anything else from you. For those,
do not support him if he's giving you what you want. Okay, support him if he's giving you what you want, because then you're just rewarding what is ultimately his fault. His financial situation is his own fault. This is the easiest job on earth, and the only thing he had to do was adapt, and he couldn't do it, and he failed. Give me tips if you like the content. Do not give me tips for the sake of it. This is in general. Reward what you want to see.
Who will hear me out at the end of this, I appreciate that as well, but you do not feel pressured at all. And especially if you yourself are suffering, do not put any money out to help me.
How about rethink your strategy? That's what most people would do if they keep doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working. Instead of blaming some vague external force that you've no verification of, try to change things up. Try to analyze what was working and repeat it.
Is not what I want. Let's start from the beginning. So you guys are awesome. If you guys watched the last update video, you raised about $4,000 in total. PayPal took a 10% cut, and then Uncle Sam takes about a 30% cut of that. So in total, I had about $2,600 to work with. The issue is
30% cut, dude. I have to file taxes for the first time in April because now I am now in the first income bracket where I'm beyond that. I'm now in an income bracket where I actually have to, in terms of yearly income, where I actually have to file now. I didn't realize it was that fucking high. They're taking 30% of my money. Canary Islands. Hello, I'd like to open a bank account.
I was stupid and I paid my last month's rent that was due that got me eviction.
Wait. Do you think, that's actually a good question. Do you think we could argue that this is a religious channel and this is a church? AG4L is a new religious movement?
Which made me current, and I'm now behind on this month's rent, so they want me out by the 7th of November now. I'm moving out on the 25th. Luckily, and not luckily, because this is the reason why I haven't moved out yet, I forgot a very crucial...
I'm not a California resident. I'm here for transitory purposes. I don't qualify for residency in the state of California. I don't intend to stay here. I'm here as a student.
Crucial detail, it costs money to move out, and I have stuff I don't...
So like I can't vote in the elections here or anything.
Want to just completely throw away. Now, I am doing that. I have like boxes here I'm sorting through to figure out what to get rid of and, what to keep. Right
now, the question is, where am I going to move when school's done? And that is such an exciting concept for me because it's like, I could go anywhere, dude. I could go anywhere. Anywhere. How do you pick a place?
Sparks joy and what does not, which is most of my stuff. I'll be honest, is all, you know, old and stuff like that, which it has memories to it, but you know what I mean. I would definitely get rid of things.
It's looking like Europe, to be clear. It's absolutely 150% looking like Europe. That's where I want to end up.
If it's going to save me money to move out. Unfortunately, it's still $1,300 for a one, like, oh my God, a U box, not even a U-Haul, a box that they come and pick up and like take it down. You still have to load it yourself. $1,300. It's $75 for the box itself, or $80 for the box itself, but it's like $1,250 just to move it, which I understand that's gas and labor and stuff, but still that's crazy. I didn't really think about that too much.
If this ends up, if I get bigger streaming and I make like an income where I could afford moving abroad, I would be able to go to somewhere like Italy under a they have like a visa pathway for like digital nomads or whatever. So if I was working from online, I could move somewhere like, which I would love to do.
So that's what's been going on. So in the meantime, I have been packing and getting rid of things, trying to figure out how I'm going to bring my mattress down 3 flights of stairs by the
way, the whole concept of this is even more funny when you get this with me sometimes. I got big for making other type of content when I was a kid. The people that watch there have not heard from me in years, and when they do see me, and we got this when I first started streaming, you had some people come in that were fans of the old channel as kids, and they're like, I haven't heard from you in years, man. Remember when, and they're really annoying to have, because it's like, they're just they're not going to stay, first of all, and second of all, they're only interested in like a version of you that is no longer existent. With this guy, he got big in like the 2010s,
hey, everybody.
Minecraft era. He doesn't upload consistently. Viewership plummets, and then he doesn't upload consistently for like a year. And now he's coming back begging for money to a fan base that doesn't exist.
Description.
You're probably one of the only OGs who stayed with us and never left. I remember coming home from school or staying, it's like nostalgia posting. People are like, why don't you revitalize your old channel? It would just be nostalgia posting. I have no interest in it. And it's much more fun to grow from scratch.
Myself, because it's just me. I'm just moving out all by myself. And then once I get
Yeah, this is like if I started suddenly uploading on my old channel to talk about my housing situation.
everything loaded into that U-Box, I'm going to drive straight to North Carolina. It's going to be like an 18-hour drive. So really looking forward to that, especially with my cat who does not like to get into the car.
He does not. There's a science behind this, to be clear. And even when I was a kid, I understood this. Right? I would like, for my titling, I would sit in group chats with Scrubby, and we would just like look at what was working when deciding on a title. There's a science behind this. You do have to look at the current trends, what is presently working, and you have to, it's trial and error. And when you get something that works, that the idiots who will never be able to get their channel big again ignore it, and they just go do something else. Because the point of trial and error is when the trial is successful, you learn from that. Someone like Boblax, who had a dead Twitter Versus channel, gets a video that works, and then just ignores it and keeps doing the same shit that wasn't working. Those are the people that fail, just to be clear. Like, the thumbnails, there's no sense of foreground and background. They look like shit, okay? The topics should be appealing to a modern audience. And a lot of people are coming back to him for nostalgia. So capitalize on that. Do we still like turn it into a fucking series? That was working. Why didn't you stick with that? We get great content like this, dude.
I'm here in the outfit where I'm at, cause I don't want to be ruined by YouTube's copyright system. But I'm here in Minecraft where
It is 2020, I guess 2024 at this point.
I'm wearing underwear. I have a sword right here, and there's a skeleton. It just fell down, and I'm in my undies. I got tennis. Why'd I throw that into Minecraft?
What song is he parodying? Oh, Wrecking. That's the song you're in 2024? First of all, a Minecraft parody in the Big 24. Second of all, the song you're parodying is Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. Are you serious? He's stuck in the past.
I actually don't know. Oh, now I'm sitting in a chair.
This is like, I love Kitchen Nightmares. Gordon will show up to these owners who used to be successful, and now they're not, which is why they call him in. And when he tells them what's wrong, they'll be like, but everyone loved this dish in the 1980s. Everyone loved it.
And then the creepers, they came and they blew up everything in my clothes, I guess. That's why I'm probably naked. Yeah. And there's the wrecking ball. Yeah. And
Caveman Films, let's do a collaborative project, okay? No, this wouldn't be streamer nightmares. I bet you, Caveman Films, if you were to listen to only, why don't you get good views, Aiden? Because I'm lazy and I don't actually apply what I know will work, okay? But Caveman Films, if you were to just take my advice for 3 months, your viewership, what it now is regularly, would double.
Hey everybody, my name. Thank you so much for everyone that noticed the channel being a lot more.
I gave Parry advice for his channel, and they always like to, when my advice works, for some reason, everyone just has this natural need to degrade me and deprive me of any satisfaction, pride, or happiness. But like, Parry was like, Aiden, I got your advice and it really worked. Thank you. Because I gave him titling and thumbnail advice, gave him like a formula of what to do. He's like, it really worked. I'm like, really? My advice helped you guys? He's like, well, it was you and 2 other people. Meanwhile, he took my advice exactly.
Like, there's going to be more content on there, and I'm going to have more. It's typically I don't really vlog about those, but I don't know. Maybe
I want to turn this into a segment. If you're a streamer, if your channel is struggling, okay, I'll review it and tell you where you're going wrong. That would be a very fun segment.
Maybe it might be something that keeps my mind on the road.
I've given Gamma advice. I've given Gamma advice several times. I've no interest in doing it. He's insanely stubborn. He's very annoying and insufferable to talk to.
Or maybe it's like the worst idea ever. We'll figure.
I don't hate Gamma, to be clear. I just think he's annoying and insufferable.
Figure that out, because I don't want to be like driving and streaming. I'm not going to crash my cat, who does not like to get just to move it, which I understand.
So is this whole video him trying to subtly sympathy bait?
I would definitely get rid of things if it's going to save me money to move.
Parry's worse. Parry will argue against me and then take my advice anyway. And you know what? And he's at least funny when he's arguing against me. So I'm okay with those conversations. I'm okay with those conversations. But my main advice for Parry is, ultimately, I get optics is dumb. Optics is stupid. But, like, you can appeal to what your 80 viewers like, or you can make optical concessions for the sake of growing to a wider audience. You don't have to sacrifice the core of who you are, but you can make some concessions. $2 from Belinda! Thank you so much! I'll never deny you of whole raviolis, Aiden. Thank you so much, Belinda. Super fucking based. Basically a quarter of the way to Streamly Gold. If you guys want to support us, as always, you can donate through Streamlabs, Super Chats, all that good shit.
Unfortunately, it's still $1,300 for a one, like, oh my god, a U-box, not even a U-Haul.
So this whole video is him trying to subtly sympathy bait people into donating.
They come and pick up in like take it down. You still have to load it yourself. $1,300. It's $75 for the box itself, or $80 for the box itself, but it's like $1,250 just to move it, which I understand that's gas and labor and stuff, but still, that's crazy. I didn't really think about that too much. So that's what's been going on. So in the meantime, I have been packing and getting rid of things.
Also, with his uploads, I guess he's just been making money off of his old content, or like he saved his money and then lived off of it for as long as possible and only waited to do something about it at the moment where he was going to get kicked out of his house.
Trying to figure out how I'm going to bring my mattress down 3 flights of stairs by myself, because it's just me. I'm just moving out all by myself. And then once I get everything loaded into that U-Box, I'm going to drive straight to North Carolina. It's going to be like an 18-hour drive. So really looking forward to that, especially with my cat, who does not like to get into the car. So it's going to be a time. Typically, I don't really vlog about those, but I don't know. Maybe it might be something that keeps my mind on the road, or maybe it's like the worst.
There's just something that is so pathetic about. There's something that is so pathetic about begging, dude. Like, be a man. Men don't beg, okay? Men don't beg. I know it's easier said than done, but honestly, I would be like a heroin addict. A heroin addict, homeless, shooting up under a fucking bridge, than lose any semblance of manhood that I have left.
Idea ever. We'll figure that out.
Doing what this guy's doing.
Because I don't want to be like driving and streaming. I'm not going to crash my little crappy car on the road just because I was talking to camera. So I don't know. But that's just what's going on. The real reason I wanted to do this video is just, again, say thank you so much for everyone that even didn't chip in, but just like offered their support, or said, Dan, you're a good guy. I like your content. I grew up watching you, all that kind of stuff. It literally brought a tear to my eye. I know it's kind of crazy, but it is so bizarre to me, because
Why can't I get comments like that, man? Why can't I get comments like that? $10 from Will. Thank you so biggest fucking donor of the stream. Holy shit, Will. Soaring us over a quarter of the way to goal. Will, I love you, buddy. My best friend. Thank you so much, Will.
I still feel, well, I guess like a slightly less enthusiastic version of myself as a teenager. And I get these people and they're like, I started watching you in kindergarten and now I'm graduating college. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm old. And it's also just really, really awesome that you guys kept me in your hearts and your minds for over a decade. So the real answer is
I doubt they did. They just got the notification.
I want to say thank you. It really means a lot, and it really puts a lot of things into perspective. So when I move back, I think you're going to notice the channel being a lot more easy. Like, there's going to be more content on there, and I'm going to have more fun doing it. Because another thing that I haven't really talked about while I've been over here in Texas is I got really good friends in North Carolina. They're basically brothers. They're my best friends. Their names are Landon and Travis. You might have seen them in really, really old videos. Like, I've known them since I was in high school when I was 2 years old. They're family, not friends. Trust me, I get into fights with Landon all the time. So we got that brother dynamic going on.
See, guys, I'm relatable. I fight with my brother. Do you think you're a Gordon Ramsay level streamer, giving advice and also saying you're too lazy to do it yourself doesn't instill you don't need to actually do something yourself to know what's good or bad. Okay? You don't need to be a chef to tell that the food is shit. Okay? Yes, I do understand the algorithm. Yes, I am confident in my advice. Okay? And if anyone doubts this, follow it for a month. And if you don't see an increase in viewership, I will do exactly what I say and only what, I'm a great dictator, okay? Do exactly what I say and only what I say with your channel for 1 month. And if you don't see any increase in viewership, I will give you $100 and eat my own words and never give advice again.
You know, but I realize they help motivate me, first off, want to do fun things, because a lot of the time it's just me sharing being myself with my friends to you guys. And I really feel like the corporate side of YouTube really killed that for me. And then, you know, again, I can go on and on about how, like, you got to do X for the algorithm, you got to do this to be trending, blah, blah, blah. I don't care anymore. I've already kind of used all the original, you know, momentum of my channel. So I don't have anything to lose anymore. So I'm literally being evicted, right? I've already kind of reached the very bottom. So there's literally nowhere to go but up. And you guys have been such a big help in facilitating that. If you guys do—
Whose fault is that? Why should people reward you? Why should people reward you for this? You clearly have not learned a lesson. You clearly don't understand why you're being evicted. What led to this happening? What led to these series of events that have brought you now to this point where you can't make enough money to live? I've not heard any responsibility from him about the decline in his viewership.
Want to help out at all, just get me the moving fees out of here, because I have like about $800 to my name, still gotta pay my car bill, all that kind of stuff. Working part-time at Best Buy does not pay the bills. I wish it did, because it's honestly a really fun job. I actually, you know, in a way, I'm kind of glad that I had to go get a real job again. I feel like that helped ground me again, and
Yes, Ivana, I did do it once. Right? All I did, and it's so easy to, it is genuinely, like, there's nothing impressive about it. You just need to know. If you know, you know. All I did was followed thumbnail titling trends, etc., and I went from a dying channel because I had gotten a shout out, and this is why I tell you, right? Temporary growth from drama or shout outs is completely unsustainable and may actually hurt you in the long run, in the sense every time you upload, the people that came from the shout out are going to unsubscribe, and if I remember correctly, if things work the same way they used to, that actually hurts you in the algorithm. But all I did was follow thumbnail titling trends, and I went from doing like horrible views for my size to the second I start doing it, I get a video 2 million views. The next video ended with 21 million views, which was still to this day, I don't know if it's been beaten in the old commentary community, the most viewed video in like the commentary community ever. Right? It was more viewed than Leafy's most viewed video. It was more viewed than Pyro's most viewed commentary video. I don't like flex it or anything because it was so easy to do. But because of that, like, I understand how to do it. I just don't have the will. I don't have the willpower or the motivation to do it myself. But I would love to talk to somebody that did, because I think if they were to listen, they could actually end up doing quite well.
it sounds so cringe, but like when you're a YouTuber, my voice correct, when you're a YouTuber, you're chronically online. You have to be, which, you know, in a way that's cool. You get to know all the memes, Skibbity Toilet and all that stuff, but you lose a lot of like just knowing what normal people are like. And I feel like a lot of big streamers, especially if you've been paying attention to a lot of the weird live stream stuff, like all the drama between, you know, political commentators and Moist Critical, which, by the way, if you guys ever wanted my opinion on who I think is like what symbolizes what YouTube should be, it's Moist Critical. He's a very down-to-earth man who's very successful, didn't let it corrupt him, and he actually does care about the content he makes, which
well, Gamma doesn't have a resume to back it up, fucking idiot. Like, Gamma doesn't, yeah, Gamma says it. Gamma doesn't have a resume that would even contribute to the notion that he knows what he's doing. And also, every time I have given advice on this type of shit and someone has followed it, their viewership has gone up. Fuck it. If you're willing to listen to my advice for a month and follow and do as I tell you, exactly as I tell you, okay? If you don't get viewership at my own expense, I will give you $300 fucking dollars.
You know, it's just talking to the camera like this.
I'm not confident in a whole lot. I'm confident on this.
A lot of the times, but he's a very funny guy. But I appreciate his worldview. He's got a very good worldview. And I don't know. I think I'm going to kind of take that to heart too. I'm going to be myself again. I'm not going to be the Dan that you see like, hello. I mean, I might do that just because I'm a ham. I'm a bit of a ham. You know, I like to make funny jokes sometimes. But I'm just going to be myself. And I think honestly, what I've seen is with you guys specifically, you've been so understanding and so nice and so just very, very sweet and so supportive that like, I don't feel like I need to put on a front or be a little extra because honestly, I'm already extra enough. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the future. There, you know, when the world itself becomes bleak, the only thing you can really do is look inward and be, am I happy with myself or am I not? I realize that, I don't know, I feel like I'm a pretty okay guy. So if that's the case, the best thing I can do is just kind of share myself. I don't know, that's because, you know, every day everybody's sharing themselves. So I don't know if that's just pretentious. What I just mean is I want to be authentic. I want to be someone you can just be like, hey, what's Dan doing? He's playing a game that he likes. He's talking, he's hanging out with his friends.
Holy
He's
shit,
Minecraft.
who's watching that? I'd love to see the watch time on this.
Whatever you guys expect from me normally. It happens when I'm going to do everything else. And I do think that over time, hopefully you guys will follow me over to the cat.
Help with moving here. Holy fuck! Hey Dan, I want to start by saying thank you. Your videos were a big part of my chat. Why do you think everybody is saying were? You were. Because what you're doing, audiences develop, audiences grow, interests change as generations move forward, and your content has not changed. I don't even think he does need to get a full-time job in YouTube as a hobby. I think he could have made this work when his channel was dead a year ago. The only reason I think he should do that is because I have no trust in his ability to actually change. So actually, I would agree with you, but I don't think that the situation itself necessitates that. I think it is his unwillingness to actually solve the situation at hand that would necessitate him to stop doing this. Anyways, what else do we got? Should we check out Chud's old confrontation with Tectone? Why did somebody send me 50 Tommy C clips?
Place you're supposed to be able to trust somebody like 100%. You know, where you're getting your your weekly dose of morality, right? I think on average, even the Catholics, I think it's probably low. If they're 1 out of 5, I put them at 5. I think foster care. Yeah, you know you're really gonna get.
What about prison?
I wouldn't say prison. I put this at number 1 ahead of foster care because I'm sure there's people that do great jobs for foster care.
Oh, is this the co-host that he asked to like send? He asked her to like give her breast measurements.
Dump on them either. But a real good place to get on a penis is if you're in. I'll tell you. What do you call that? Juvie.
Huh? Excuse me? What?
Juvie. If you're a bad kid, because they're going there. You know the pets are going there. Because who's going to believe you? You're a fucking rotten kid to begin with. You probably done 20 rotten. You're supposed to be able to.
Okay, I think that's actually true. Yes, a lot of pedophiles go and work in positions where they have power over minors, or where the kids will otherwise not be believed. But why do you know where you can get a lot of penis, Tommy? Play in order. I'm doing it. Hold on. Why is it not loading?
Why does his size matter? I'll tell you why his size matters. Because if it's a guy that's 5'3", I don't think this gets as big.
All right, we're back. We're back. Once again, folks, we just buffered. If it's still lagging for you, we're getting full upload on the stream, so it's not on my end. What you have to do if it lags sometimes is refresh your page, or if you're on mobile, click out and then reopen the stream, and then the lagging will stop. So we're back.
It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's still wrong. But I did wonder if this was an overreaction, but that guy's huge, and he could have carried her away. He could have hit her. He could have, anything could have happened. And I tell you what, I don't know if there's much they could have done about it. That guy's fucking huge, and he was able to walk in and do that.
Well, I agree in the sense, like, how physically imposing he is, because once again, the development of trauma is not purely related to the harm of the situation itself, but how much harm you believed was going to happen at the time it was occurring, right? You could get traumatized from like, if you think you're about to die, even though the situation itself ends with a not, like, bad result or whatever, going through that thinking your life is about to end can traumatize you. So his size could probably play a role in the physical harm that she believed was about to be perpetrated against her. But even if he wasn't very big, it would probably be just as traumatic. You have a random fan coming up and grabbing you. You don't know what he's about to do to you. You don't know if he has a weapon. You don't know if he's forcefully holding. So his size isn't really going to be she's still going to be traumatized coming out of it.
But size matters, I think, in the sense where visually, it's going to piss more people off than it was if it was. This
is sexual assault. Even if the guy was like fucking tiny, this is sexual assault.
Somebody the height of Jeannie over here. I think if it was a woman too, it wouldn't have been as big a deal.
Of course it wouldn't have been as big of a deal, because it's unlikely that a woman is doing this with sexual intent or romantic intent, right? It could just be an excited woman that goes up and hugs, and that's going to also, her status as a woman is going to be very relevant to the perception of potential harm. But regardless of his size, this is still sexual assault.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that he's a big, powerful man is visually is more disturbing. So there's your reason. Tommy C is live.
The nature of the situation itself is disturbing. He's grabbing a woman without her consent or permission and forcefully putting his face to her face to give her a kiss.
Why does his size matter? I'll tell you why his size matters. Because if it's a guy that's 5'3",
it matters in such a minuscule extent. But he's acting like, had the size been different, the nature of this would have changed. It wouldn't. This is sexual assault.
I don't think this gets as big. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Is this guy's so fucking stupid. You don't think, if this guy was short, okay, let's say average height or short, and he comes up and does this and forcefully grabs her and puts his face against hers, you just don't think this situation would be big? When I saw this clip, I was not immediately thinking about his size. I was thinking a guy got through security and forcibly grabbed her.
It's still wrong. But I did wonder if this was an overreaction, but that guy's huge, and he could have carried her away. He could have hit her.
It's only relevant in, like, maybe the perception of potential harm, which could make it more traumatic. But he's acting like, had the size not been a factor, it wouldn't be a big deal.
He could have, anything could happen. And I tell you what, I don't know if there's much they could have done about it. That guy's fucking huge, and he was able to walk in and do that. But size matters, I think, in the sense where visually, it's going to piss more people off than it was if it was somebody the height of Genie over here.
It would still be sexual assault. Nothing changes.
I think if it was a woman, too, it wouldn't have been as big a deal.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that he's a big, powerful man is visually...
Had he not been big, it would have still been some guy got past security at TwitchCon and forcibly grabbed a female streamer. What the fuck is this, dude? Well, that's the end of the docket for today. I'm not going to end live. We'll go watch Chud talking to Tectone.
It was just a comment of, I compared you to Frogan.
And I'll play some Minecraft. If you want to support the channel, as always, we're nearly halfway to Streamly goal. We're probably not going to hit it today, but we could get halfway. I appreciate it. You can also support us by liking up, subbing up, joining the Discord server, joining our Minecraft server. When you go and click add server after clicking multiplayer in Minecraft, where it says server address, you put all lowercase ag4l.mc.gg and you're in the server.
No,
Sorry,
sure.
you're not
And,
Frogan.
look, at the end of the day, we're obviously not going to be best buds or anything, right? But it just seemed a bit bizarre.
One game of Fortnite could change everything. You know?
Bro, you're a little set. I can see your little tactics, right? You're trying to build rapport. I see what you're doing.
I don't know if Chud's changed from this, but like the size of the person he's talking to absolutely influences based on what I've seen. And honestly, I might be the same way, right? You are talking to something relative to everyone else. Chud is still a like small streamer, right? And even if you pretend like it doesn't matter, their influence is still going to be like a looming thought in your head, and it may affect the level of pushback you give them. I hope Chud went hard here.
I see exactly what you're doing, mate, okay?
Right, so me bring them up, which is to say that I'm from a military family.
Well, you're
That's
referencing them to bring an emotional weight to your argument, I think is what's happening there. I don't like big streamers because I feel like they've got this suffocating hold over like what you can and can't say about them. And already you're upset with me because I've criticized some aspects of your channel.
Maybe I stand corrected. Maybe he did give pushback.
I'm not really the main part of the story, and I don't want to be too self-centered, but I do obviously want to talk a little bit about the fact that Tectone he's like pretending to have no idea who I am, which is kind of just bizarre. Just a bizarre and unnecessary lie. Anyway, let's have a little look at the old clip and see what we think.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Off topic, but have you listened to the new Kanye track? It's quite a head bumper regardless of the lyrics.
I have, yes. I'm a big fan.
Who cares?
Oh my god.
Just get him off my screen. How, bro, he's like another Frogan. Like, who the fuck even knows who that is, bro? Who is that? I'm good, man. Just get him off my fucking screen.
It was a pretty rough moment there.
So in conclusion,
Him apologizing.
see, the thing that's so obvious about this clip is he obviously knows who I am. He's got to do this
Hold on.
fake who megalo shit, and obviously for some reason, I'm under his skin. And I think I know why. I know why I'm under his skin. Recently, it's probably because I mocked his rapist dad on stream. That's probably one of the reasons, okay? And the other reason is because prior to this, I expressed skepticism in his defense of his allegations, okay? That I'm guessing is why he's acting like this about it.
It's
Now-
not merely skepticism. There's verifiable evidence that he outright lied in the court. It's not even just being skeptical. We know he lied. The question now is why. We know he lied in his defense. We can prove it. Shamu proved it. Why? Why did he do that? You lie to conceal aspects of the truth. What truth was there that was worth concealing for this guy?
For those of you that don't know, there's a little factoid about Tectone that you might be interested in, okay? So, a little while ago, back in 2023, I was in some sort of drama with one of the OTK people. It might have been Ms. Kiff or something like that. I was getting posted on LSF a lot, and so the OTK people were talking a bit of shit about me. But Tectone actually took a different tact.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
You made Techie relive his unspeakable childhood experiences
Okay,
with your
dude.
middle age.
Okay, that's wonderful. How do I make
Make fun of him
money
getting
off
way.
depressed people?
Who cares? Who cares? Wow.
I disavow. I disavow this comment, but thank you nonetheless. Would you believe it that back in 2023, this man that now is claiming he barely knows who I am and hasn't heard of me, he actually invited me to play Fortnite.
Oh wait, also I need a new sound effect for donos. I'm taking suggestions because I'm not like Chud. I don't want to use the same sound effect for 800 years. I think you do need to change it up sometimes. So any suggestions, please let me know.
Back in 2023, this is him in my chat. Back in 2023. Offering to drop in Tomato Town, I would imagine. So look, obviously, at the end of the day, this isn't like a massive
that's
deal,
wonderful.
okay?
How
None of
do
this
I
really
make
matters in the
money
grand
off
scheme of
depressed
things.
people?
He obviously knows who you are. His insult is that no one else knows who you are.
Thank you very much for the super chats. It's very obvious. It's very obvious that I've got under his skin with some of my coverage, and he knows about it, and he's trying to let on like he doesn't know about it, but clearly he does. So even this cope of like, no one else knows who you are. I mean, in the clips that I've
Where
seen,
am I?
he seems to be pushing this point quite strongly, acting like I'm a total nobody that should be ignored. But yet, a couple of years ago, he was wanting to play fucking Fortnite with me because I was in some stupid beef on LSF with some other OTK people. And I think the thing is
It is possible, just to be clear, that he didn't remember Chud. Like, I didn't realize that I had actually known of Morale and spoken to him years ago over some shit involving Femios. I'm trying to figure out where I am. Over some shit involving Femios, right? It is, when you talk to a lot of people, when you cover a lot of people, you do forget some of those people inevitably. Especially if your like situation with them isn't like super significant, but since it's Tectone, I'm more inclined to believe he was just fucking lying.
he probably, yeah, I think he probably sussed me out as being like a drama guy that might be on his side in some fashion or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, this was a couple of years ago, to be fair. So obviously, you know, it's not 100%. It's not 100% that he might not know who I am now. That's fair enough. However, with that being said, there's another clip that I just want to show you, which I think is quite eye-opening too. So let me just show you this. Wait a second. This is the clip here, I think. Where is it? Oh my god, dude. Bro! Nicandros!
Where do they actually talk? Here we go.
That gets away with everything. You want to know why? Because people think he's dreamy. Yep. And you know that's the truth. Listen, man, if Hassan went live and he was looking like Chud Logic and he said all this dumbass shit, he would be banned immediately. Hassan is the streamer who has said
So he's just randomly...
Wait, does he genuinely think the reason that Hassan isn't banned is like because of his appearance? What is this cope, dude? Insecurity projection? Tectone, I get it. I'd be insecure too, but it's 2025. There are options available for you if you want your hair back.
making some sort of comment about how ugly I am in February 16th, 2025. But now he's trying to do this absolutely pathetic, wretched... Oh, who even is this guy?
Wait, when is it?
the streamer who has said
So he's just randomly making some sort of comment about how ugly I am in February 16th, 2025. But now he's trying to do this...
Wait, it was in 2025? What? I thought this was something from years ago. It was in 2020. Okay, yeah, he's fucking lying. He's lying. He's just lying.
Absolutely pathetic, wretched... Oh, who even is this guy? Who even is this guy? Who even is this guy? Well, I'm the guy that a couple of months ago you were so upset about. You were taking these weird little snipes at me in this other random fucking drama that was nothing to do with me. And the only possible reason I can think that he would say this and make this like weird random snipe on a totally like, as far as I understand, I don't think I had anything at all to do with any of this shit. It just randomly cropped up in his head.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Battle of the Balding Retards.
I disavow it. Thank you very much for,
Okay, that's wonderful.
for the tip.
But how do
Yeah,
I make
appreciate
money
it.
off depressed people?
Are you sure it wasn't his dad that invited you to play Fortnite? How old?
Where does Techie call in?
Our stuff, next talkie stuff. Well, it does make sense.
comment comparing you to Frog.
Very unfortunate.
Here
However,
it is.
well, yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm sure I did bother him, laughing about his dad's rapist ways, or being skeptical of his, you know, of his response to the allegations.
My gripe with Tectone, once again, is not that his father is like a sex criminal. I don't think it was technically rape, regardless. My gripe with Tectone is the fact that he and his excuse is he didn't know, which is obviously a lie, but even if I was to accept that it wasn't a lie, you would still feel incredibly guilty that you brought this person, or like if you're like a normal person that doesn't want to make everything about you, you would still feel some sense of guilt that you had let this guy around your fucking, like the people you were cool with, women specifically, that you, once again, like put his face out there and gave him exposure, potentially obviously it's unlikely to be clear, but it's still very much possible that a former victim's son could be watching Tectone, and this woman now has to see the face of the guy that sexually assaulted her, sexually harassed her, etc., etc. And if that's the case, and you do feel bad over that because you're a normal human being and not a self-centered fuck, you would apologize, right? You would apologize and talk about what they went through. But somehow now, all of a sudden, Tectone's dad treating him like shit comes into play. We've never heard about this until now. And all of a sudden it's like, my dad held a gun to my head when I was a kid, etc. Like unverifiable shit to make himself out to be the victim. Which is like indicative of the fact that he's just like a fucking shit person. He's a total self-centered, like he makes it about himself somehow.
Why not just be fucking real about that? Why not just be real about it and go, yeah, this guy pissed me off because he was skeptical about my allegations. This guy pissed me off because he was laughing about my dad raping a bunch of women in the army. Why not just be realistic about it? What's with the fake bravado shit?
Wait,
It's so obnoxious.
I went to the wrong
So,
place.
people talk about how he's this truth teller. And he just says it how he is, but he doesn't. He's obviously bothered by something I've said about him, doesn't want to say that, so he just acts like I'm some fucking, 60 viewer Andy that isn't worth listening to. It's so obvious and transparent, bro. And you know what I'm saying is correct. Unless you're some dyed-in-the-wall, retarded Tectone fan, you know that what I'm saying is 100% true, fair, correct, and accurate.
Fuck.
And I'd love for you to explain how I'm wrong. I don't think I am wrong. I think I'm correct. And yeah, that's that. Anyway, Tectone. Hello, how's it going?
Well, it was going good, but I made a comment comparing you to Frogan.
Noid, if you're watching this, can you please DM me the coordinates for the nether portal that goes to the end? Because you said you built a path to it. I followed the path and it led me nowhere. So if you have the coordinates in the nether for where that portal is, please let me know. Thank you.
The other day, and I wanted to say I didn't mean that. But what I meant by that Frogan comment was, you know how Frogan... Oh, wait, you're turned on camera? Oh, okay, great. I can do that too if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, so what I meant by that comment was, I didn't mean to offend you, was that...
I gotta be honest, mate, it feels like you're backtracking a little bit now, I must say.
I'm supposed to, like, magically know where the coordinates are? What is funny about that? What is funny about that? Just DM me. I don't need the lecture. I followed the path, and it led me to some fucking nether fortress and a portal in the nether. And I'm getting killed by a blaze. I don't need... Spare me the lecture, sir. Please. What does the second path even go to? What is the second path? You can follow me go down it on stream, and you can see exactly the way I followed. Just tell me the chords. Just give it. I don't care about your lecture. You missed it. You accidentally went down the second path that leads to nowhere that I built for no fucking reason instead of the path that you actually need.
It does feel like you're backtracking straight away.
Let me explain it. You tell me if it makes sense to you. Okay. So you know how Frogan gets like no viewers on Twitch, yet she's blasted on like drama alert.
Okay, just give me the chords for the right path or the portal or so. I don't need your lecture.
Yeet, LSF.
Right.
So what I meant by that was I had only assumed that you only had 60 viewers on Twitch. I didn't know that you had thousands of viewers on YouTube. So I just said, it's just another Frogan. Does that make sense? Or do you think I'm just like trying to lie to you?
Well, it does make sense. And I got to be honest with you. There's another clip where, and I saw this a little while ago, but I didn't pay much heed. But you made some comment about me being ugly, okay? Now listen, I'm not going to...
What? Chud's mad.
Listen. I'm long in the tooth. I understand this is what happens. We talk shit about each other, okay? But it just seemed odd to me that this comment seemed to come fairly soon after I released the video where I was skeptical of your response to the allegations against you.
Oh yeah, of course. Obviously, that's gonna piss me off for sure.
Right.
But did I actually invite you to play Fortnite?
Yeah.
No, push him. So the good thing would be, why did this video piss you off? What reason specifically? To actually manage to get this guy into a call, you have a great opportunity to just like totally confront him with his own bullshit. Like, if you have receipts read it, you could point out his contradictions live. He likes to pretend like everyone is wronging him through their discussion of the allegations, when it really is a he said, she said, and he verifiably lied, which makes us lean away from his, own testimony. Push him. What was wrong with your coverage?
2 years ago. It was when I was looking at some of the drama.
What drama you had?
It was something to do with OTK. There was some sort of like, maybe the Miskip stuff or something like that. I can't remember. It was like
Which
2023.
Miskip stuff? There's a lot. Do you remember which one?
I think the stuff when he tried to talk himself. I tell you what, Texan, you've been very pleasant now, aren't you? Very nice. What's that about?
Well, I'm usually a pretty nice guy whenever I talk to people online.
You seem very dismissive, and that wasn't worth any consideration yesterday. So I was like a 60-view Andy. So like, what's changed?
Oh, because I found out that I hurt your feelings, but I didn't mean to.
Well, it's not really about hurting my feelings. It's that you're quite a dishonest person, I think. And you were just hand waving me away. Just thought I was, able to just be knocked into the long grass without any much consideration. That's what it felt.
This is the stupidest line of dialogue. Like, get the receipts prepared. Mention, hey, in your response to the allegations, why did you say that it was impossible for you to make fun of her for not paying rent when she clearly was not paying the rent at one point and you're caught on video making fun of her for it? He can talk his way out of anything when it doesn't come down to specifics or receipts. Pull up the specifics, pull up the receipts.
Like,
oh, I'm sorry for that way.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess your apology is somewhat appreciated, but it's just kind of worthless, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we're probably not going to talk ever again, but yeah.
Who cares that he called you? Such a unique fucking opportunity, man. It's such a unique opportunity.
Oh, I just made a comment where I compared you to Frogan, and nobody deserves that, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. You want to talk about your dad, I guess? Is that anything you want to talk about? You promised my coverage?
Wait, you want to talk about my dad?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you're aware of my coverage of your situation, which is probably why you're so pissed off with me.
I saw the thumbnail of the video, but I never clicked it.
Right, okay. Well, at least we can be honest about that, at least.
I think I have been pretty honest so far.
Okay. Except for when you acted like you had no idea who I was and hand waved me away, but it's clearly because you were upset with my coverage.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Right now, we're engaging in a I feel like you did this, and I feel like you did that. Right? And what's that really going to do? You know what I mean?
Well, obviously, I can't prove how you feel about something. That's
Destinyism? Techie's been watching Destiny?
impossible.
Of course.
But it just seems like you were, extremely dismissive the moment my face popped up on the screen. And to me, piecing it together, that seemed to be because you're unhappy with my coverage of your situation with your father and prior the coverage of the allegations where I was somewhat skeptical of your response.
Sure. So the reason why I was very dismissive, and once again, I'm sorry, Chad, I hope that didn't bother you too much, was there was this era where you were always popping up on LSF, like Chud Logic thread after Chud Logic thread after Chud Logic thread. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I think that was the general consensus for the majority of people who saw that you popping up on LSF was like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is Chad? Right? That's pretty much just it. Right? So like my thing is, why would I care about a person's opinion who I have no idea who they are? And that's pretty much just it. Now I think you understand that like I could have picked up this call, gone in on you, been an abrasive dickhead. It's very easy for me to do. I have no interest in doing that. That's pretty much just it. It was just a comment of like compared to Frogan.
No,
Sorry,
sure.
not Frogan.
At the end of the day, we obviously not going to be best buds or anything, right? But it just seems a bit bizarre.
One game of Fortnite can change everything. You know?
He is incredibly fucking manipulative. He believes if there's a critic that he believes he can talk his way out of them being critical of him and turn them into liking him, he will take every opportunity to do so. In his position, right? If I was talking to somebody that I felt was completely dishonest about me, had wronged me in some way, I wouldn't be talking about fucking playing a game of Fortnite with them. I'd be confronting them. His goal is, there is a critic here. He is wrong for criticizing me. How do I neutralize him as a critic?
I see your little tactics, mate. You're trying to build rapport. I see what you're doing. I see exactly what you're doing, mate, okay?
I feel like I'm not doing anything. Am I going crazy?
That's fine. No. Listen, all I want to say is, if you were just real about it, and you said, oh, Chud Logic, that's the tosser that fucking had to go at my dad, what a dickhead. I mean, what have I got to say? Like, fair enough, I fucking was mean and made mean comments about you, I get it. But it's the fact, and I'm, whatever, I've had it all the time, big streamers saying, who is this guy, it doesn't matter. But it just seems like, for someone that prides themselves on honesty, you weren't being 100% honest.
Sure, let me see if I can give you any amount, because you're saying a lot of scenes and you feel this way. Let me see if I can show you any proof of this. How do I do this? Is there any way that I can show you this? Well, I don't know if this helps, but like, if you can see my stream right now, this whole video is Tech Dome sobs when exposed for rapist father. Jesus, that's quite the title. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, listen, that's provocative. That's provocative. But I feel like you've been quite manipulative when you were crying about it. If we're going to bring that up, that's.
Oh, you think I was faking the tears?
You could have been being genuinely emotional. I can't tell that, but it just seemed like it was quite a performative act that you were making because you're embarrassed about your son. Bring this up.
Wonderful.
You really have a lot of like bad faith in me, huh? Do you watch? Have you ever watched?
This is like, it's gonna come down to, I feel like you're doing this. We can like it. Listen, I'm gonna be very disappointed if there is not at least one point in this where Chud confronts him on the blatant contradictions in his own coverage. There's some great questions that could be asked here. I get it. Chud's like, there's still like 20 minutes left in this. I get it, but I'm gonna be very disappointed if the pressing questions are not asked.
Anytime besides the clips you see online, or is it like your first time ever like seeing me at all?
I don't really watch your stuff that much. I've mainly covered well.
That makes sense. Yeah, I have to imagine the opinion that you have of me after only interfacing with me via like watching clips. You might think that was performative, but yeah, no, that was just me being really upset because the thing is, when you have are you close to your dad?
Not really, no.
His dad's dead.
No.
Yeah, so like I was very close with my dad. And when you're 16 years old, you don't want to think of your dad as like a fucking horrible human being. Like obviously I knew my dad went to jail. However, he told me that it was all a bunch of bullshit. That's why he went for 90 days. I'm like, oh, okay, 90 days. Yeah, he probably just got, fucked over. Right? And obviously I see all this shit come out online. It's a lot to hear that about your dad. I feel like it's kind of reasonable to be a little bit upset.
It didn't just come out online. It was spoken about in the fucking halls of Congress. Did he never look up his dad's like service? I mean, if he was to look up anything related to his dad's time in the military, this would come up. He would see this. I spoke to a guy that served in Vietnam. I was curious. I searched up his fucking because I wanted to know more about his service. I tried to get a hold of his records, or not his records. See what I could find about it online. I didn't find anything, but I just find it very hard to believe that he's saying he was 16 and he knew it was bullshit or thought it was bullshit. That means that he did know about the situation. He just had a misguided perception when he was 16, which makes sense. But you're a grown adult now, and you never thought to look back into that this entire time? And then what about this surfacing changed your mind from these allegations were bullshit to he actually did this and he's actually an abuser, he abused me? Because all that came out was what he was convicted of. That's all that came out. Why did that change your mind if you apparently knew what he was convicted of when you're 16 and thought he was innocent?
I wasn't upset at Hassan for doing it. However, finding out about all this about your dad is pretty awful. And then also people calling him a rapist, which is, he wasn't a rapist. That's not a thing that happened.
He was a groper / sexual harasser that used his position of influence to engage with women in an incredibly violating, inappropriate, degrading manner. He is a sex criminal. Okay, I agree. He was not a rapist, right? But honestly, with the level of disregard that your father showed when he had a position of power and used it to meet his own sexual needs, I don't think rape would be a big step up.
Right, like that's
Okay, well, he didn't have forced penetrative sex with women.
Yeah, of course.
But he did
Right,
sexually
yeah.
assault them, I believe. I don't know the ins and outs of it exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, the proper thing to call him, people are calling my father LeBron James of rape. He's not. He's more like the Max Verstappen of sexual assault, right? So as long as we just be like, honest with our titles, you know what I mean? So, obviously there's a big difference. I think you'd agree.
Sure, I think that, I understand where you're coming from, and I've got some sympathy for feeling emotional about that. I just always find it...
He's pretending like at 16, he didn't think about this because it also, apparently I heard he didn't know about this at first. Then he did know about it, he just didn't think it was true. Then why did you think it was true when you started getting backlash for it? No new information came up. There was no new info. Literally all that happened was people exposing his record. That's the only thing that came up. And if you were apparently already aware of that, and that didn't sway your opinion, why did it, now that you're facing public backlash, why was your opinion suddenly swayed?
Bit, not just when streamers present that super hard to the audience. It comes across like, you see it as being real perhaps, but to me it just comes across as manipulative, and I think people are going to buy into your emotion about it and have a certain take on the drama. But they may not do that emotion.
Sure, I do think that you would agree that, let's say I was doing...
Dude, my dad got arrested when he was a kid. I think when I was a little kid, I asked my parents if they'd ever been arrested. I learned when I was a kid that my dad got arrested because when he was a kid, he had thrown a bottle of beer at a tree. And they held him in jail for a night and then let him go and didn't file charges or whatever. Like, I know something as little as that. I mean, surely if you know your father has a criminal record and this is somebody with familiarity with the internet, he uses the internet, you mean to tell me at no point between when you learned of this at 16 and then at 27, 28, when it comes to everyone's attention, at no point between this did you go and do any research about his record? And then once again, even if he didn't know about it, or even if he believed his father was innocent at the time, if he's now suddenly coincidentally, when he's receiving backlash, suddenly reached this new conclusion that his father did it, why would you not be apologetic and spend your time being sympathetic to the women he hurt? Why would you make it about you and talk about abuse that you clearly had worked past because you were platforming the guy and were totally fine with him until public sentiment turned against him? Now you're the victim.
That as a ploy, right? Let's pretend, right? I think that you understand that would be the biggest misplay to ever do. Due to the fact that in the political sphere, the person who shows emotion always loses, right? So obviously that would have never been the proper play to ever do that, because the way to win in the political space is to just be neutral, act calm, ignore any criticism whatsoever, and continue.
This is such bullshit. You're not talking about politics. You're talking about your fucking dad. You're addressing a personal situation. And also, he's not really, like, he covers politics, but he's not really like a politics YouTuber in the sense he's like ingratiated with a political community and is strictly down to business politics. He talks about himself all the fucking time. This was a situation pertaining to something personal that happened to him. Or sorry, he was involved in. He was facing active criticism for platforming his dad who victimized women. It is beneficial for him to cry, break down, and make himself seem sympathetic and actually a victim himself to negate the backlash against him at that moment. that is beneficial for him in every facet.
Try to like brainwash your audience in a certain method. I mean, I feel like it's really not that hard to believe that a guy on stream found out that his dad is worse than what he believed, and you know, the idea that his hero is now a shattered version of that, and now they're probably not going to interact as much. You know, isn't really fun to deal with.
Sure, I mean, obviously, you know, I can't look inside your head and assess exactly what you're thinking in that moment, but I think it's very misguided to think that an emotional reaction won't tee up your audience to have a certain response or reaction and support you off the back of that.
Yeah, but I think you understand that every streamer's chat's going to support them regardless, whether they're crying or not.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of like parasocial attachment and stuff that happens. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like.
Yeah, but it's not just this guy watches every negative video about him. It's not just about his immediate chat. He knows that. He knows that. It's about what they're saying about him in other communities, in other forums, and other subreddits. It's not merely about his own chat that is presently there. He knows people are going to clip the crying. He knows other people are going to watch the crying, and he cares not just about what his own immediate community thinks, but about what other communities think about him, which is why he watches every negative video about him, and you could find him in the comments of videos that have like 1,000 views.
There's no reason to play that way. And by the way, I think it is very funny that you say how pleasant I am. I appreciate that, by the way. If you go watch any of my other content when I do podcasts, I hope you don't think that I'm like, you know, jerking your balls or, you know.
No, not at all. It's just, you know, it was like, I mean, you know, you talked about me for a couple of minutes. It wasn't the be all and end all. Obviously, as a smaller streamer, I was stupid to not talk about that because the bigger streamer talking about you. As you know from your own experience, is often, you know, a good thing to bring up on your own stream. It just, the tone that you're bringing here is different to, I guess, maybe what I was anticipating based on some of the comments you made about me.
Yeah, that happens a lot when I talk to people. I usually have that impression of, wow, this guy's the world's biggest jackass. This guy's the world's biggest dickhead. Oh, okay, well, maybe not. And that's okay. I understand that, I'm known for giving.
I know who you are. I know how you operate. You would probably say things you would believe I was gonna like. And that wouldn't now create, unless I'm like totally surface level with no prior knowledge. This is what manipulators are good at doing. They manipulate. They manipulate. Just because you seem likable when we're talking one-on-one doesn't mean my knowledge of you as a person and what you've engaged in is that's now gonna be negated and you're gonna be an overall likable figure.
The worst first impression.
It just comes across as a bit phony to me, if I'm honest.
Sure, yeah, I mean, you can definitely believe that 100%, but yeah, I mean, if you just pull up any of my streams or any of my videos, it's just pretty much me all the time.
Sure, yeah, I mean, like I say, obviously, you know, you've got your perception on the crying, I've got my interpretation of it. I can't see what was in your head.
Sure. I think it goes as simple as, if you like me, you'll think it's legitimate. If you don't like me, you'll think it's performative. And that's pretty much just how it goes. Like, that's why I don't really worry about my public perception online, because it's always going to boil down to, if the people don't like me, they're not going to believe me. If the people like me, then they're going to fucking actually like me. And if people look into it, well, then people will actually believe me even more. And that's pretty much just it.
Because it's something you've done before. When you were talking about the allegations with your ex, you were crying about that on stream as well.
Oh, what can you refresh my memory?
They're accusing me of rape when I was raped myself? What is the relevance of bringing that in? You want people to be sympathetic to you. He's like, in the sense of the pathology of a manipulator, he's got it, but in execution, he's really bad at it to anybody that has prior knowledge of him. So it's like really like amazing to me how he manages to convince this many people.
I can't remember the exact point at which you did, but you definitely broke down in tears at some point addressing, perhaps in regards to your own assault. I'm not sure, it might have been in regards to that.
Kind of like a hard thing to talk about, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, like, come on, man. I mean,
people talk about tough things all the time, and they're not in tears on stream.
Well, yeah, sure, but I'm a pretty emotionally connected guy. You can tell I get angry really easily, I get sad really easily, I get happy really easily.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's no way of, you know, like I say, demonstrating intent in what you're doing. I just personally always find it manipulative when streamers cry in front of their audiences. So.
Sure, there's a video. You ever played Match again?
Yes, yeah, I actually took a Genshin sponsorship a little while ago.
I'm so sorry. Did you like it?
Well, no, because it was a 20 gig download, and people had to do it on the phone,
Yeah.
so it was a fucking waste of time, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. There's this video of me pulling this character Kafka in Honkai Star Rail, and I got so excited I passed out on the floor. Yeah, and I like took off my fucking clothes. That was performative. Like, I like genuinely passed out like 3 seconds. I think my emotions are very charged.
How does this negate the notion that you garnered? It seems like the tears come about, and the bad things that have happened to you, only get mentioned in the context of you receiving backlash.
But yeah.
If a woman was doing what he was doing, we would all call it performative, because it would be, to be clear. But this like image of a manipulative woman that people have in their minds, he fits it to a T. The fake tears, everything. If he was a woman, he would never get away with this.
But I think you're from Britain. I can tell by your very thick accent. I'm from America, so you can probably tell by my view on gun laws. We're probably just different. And I understand you're probably a pretty cynical guy, and that's okay. But yeah, just wanted to come here and say sorry for calling you Frogan, man. That's pretty much it.
Okay, I mean, obviously, you know, the other thing that I think it's probably worth bringing up whilst you're here in regards to your dad is, did you have any kind of thoughts about the fact that you used him in kind of the online discourse to back up your arguments about PTSD?
Yeah, people keep on saying that I used my dad to back up my discourse. I believe what I said is, my brothers didn't, what was it, my brother, my father, and our soldiers didn't, should I build the exact tweet?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know you referenced your father in it.
Yeah, sure, my dad was a soldier, my brother was a soldier.
You propped your dad's status up as honorable to dunk on Hassan. So you did what he's about to describe that he did is exactly what Chud said that he did. He's going to explain and give a descriptor that fits exactly what the way Chud described it and pretend like that disproves the descriptor.
From a military family, and I'm, very supportive of our troops. I don't think I was directly using my father. He was also in the sentence, but I don't think I was weaponizing my father in any means. It's just kind of just soldiers and how I have, a good view of soldiers because I'm from a military family. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, sure. I guess the point that I'm making is, I don't know what your take is on this, and I appreciate there's been a lot of harsh comments from myself in regards to your father and whatnot. But obviously, if you bring him up and bring him into the online discourse, of course you've got to expect people to find stuff out about him and potentially talk about him, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think that was my intention to bring him up and say, my dad's really cool, look at this fucking guy. Hassan, you're wrong because my dad did this. I don't think I was doing that. It's been kind of odd to see, kind of revisionist history that occurred. Maybe I'm just off the mark here.
He talks his way out by invoking things that you can't prove, like what his intent was. We have concrete evidence available to us, and we can see what you did. No, what other intent would there be to bring him up in that context?
I don't think I was doing that. But I do think it's just kind of weird how, Hassan would go after my father for, his criminal past, when he has an uncle who's, talking about how bestiality should be legal and how he fantasizes about young girls at the beach. I just feel like it's kind of weird. Where does the buck stop? When do we stop being guilty by association? When do we stop being guilty by, generational guilt? I think it's, a very stupid concept.
Wait, is he talking about Chank? Is he talking about Chank? Is he actually drawing a comparison between, being, a fucking, I don't know. By the way, I don't even know if Chank actually said these things. If he did, that's cringe as fuck, right? I don't need to defend Chank. But is he really this debate bro-y, philosophical discourse on reassessing every universally bad thing? He's comparing that to actually perpetrating sex crimes. Hassan's dad had weird comments and thoughts. Your dad committed sex crimes, and you propped him up as somebody that was honorable. How much does Hassan even talk about Chank?
Well, in a positive light, it's kind of inevitable that this was going to come up and come back to bite you, right?
Well, when you think your dad's a good dude, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I fucking stream all my family members. I've done it with my brother, I stream with my mom, I just feel
thank you so much, G's with the fucking 2. Much fucking appreciated. Aiden, it's pronounced concrete, not concrete. Oh, you mean concrete? That's how I say it. Concrete. That's how I say it. Concrete? Dude. I'm sorry, I'm not Canadian. I don't overemphasize the E's. I know it's pronounced that way.
a normal thing to do for streamers, don't you think? Oh, also, here's the tweet.
Well,
I had to pull it out.
sure, go on.
The tweet says, I am genuinely considering full swapping YouTube. This terrorist propaganda isn't punished harshly immediately on Twitch. My father, my brothers, and our soldiers did not believe.
ESL, you barely fucking speak Spanish. You barely speak Spanish. I speak Spanish great. Tu no comprehendo español, mi amigo. Tu madre es burro. Tu abuela es pendejo. Tu padre es cucaracha.
Sacrifice and die for this bullshit be allowed to run on Twitch. This needs to be changed immediately. Yeah, which, by the way, if Hassan looks into my brothers too, they're way worse. You know, they've killed people.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a Hassan fan, right? I'm not a Hassan guy. So, I'm not looking to defend Hassan on the basis of his family or whatever. But, it's just that you're invoking your father in order to try and get someone else to
And also, once again, the criticism is not about what his father did. You can't help who you're related to. And yes, many times, people are unable to break the connection when they have a horrible family member because you're still bonded to them by blood. Right? And sometimes, even like serial killers will have family members that hate what they did, but still simultaneously love them, and they don't understand why. And it's kind of the paradox of these relations, because you miss the person that you thought they were when you thought they were good. You miss your dad. You now understand that he's bad, but you can't break that connection. And I don't blame him if he was still talking to his dad in private without glorifying what his dad did, right? The problem is, he knew what his dad did and propped him up as some honorable person anyways.
Essentially, only for them to have done things which potentially cause PTSD themselves, right? You see the kind of,
So real quick, he was saying like invoking my dad. Do you really think that post reads just invoking my dad? It was my father, my brother, and our soldiers, right? So me bring them up, we should just say
that was, yes, you invoked your dad. That's literally, does he know what invoking means? You're bringing up honorable people to posture over Hassan. Your dad is included in that list. Your dad was invoked. Whoa. I'm
from a military family.
Well, you're referencing them to bring an emotional weight to your argument, I think is what's happening there.
Was I doing that? I think I was just saying.
Why
hey,
did
man,
you
I'm upset
mention
about
it all then and just not say PTSD is bad and you shouldn't mock military people?
to kind of get people to understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, to add emotional weight to the argument. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Sure, you sound like you know a lot more about the psychology than me.
Well, no, it's not about psychology. It feels like quite an obvious, intent that you're trying to achieve there, and you're acting like you're just kind of referencing them for the hell of it. Whereas to me, it's like to underpin it that you've got some direct knowledge of this.
It was more like to show why I'm so passionate about this subject.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sure. If you're happy calling it,
Are we saying the same thing?
yeah, more or less we're saying the same thing. Yeah, sure. I just think there's this kind of denial because it's like you don't want to accept that there's. I don't feel like you don't accept there's some level of you doing that almost.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if we agree on that, that's fine. I mean,
I'm thinking maybe we're saying the same thing. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that was it. I mean, did you have any specific issues with anything I've said about you, your family, or anything like that you wanted to?
I mean this genuinely. I don't know what you've said. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you've said anything bad about me or my family. I just felt dismissive, and some of my chat was like, "Hey man, I think you're a little bit too harsh on Chud." And I was like, "Okay, let me look into him." Oh yeah, I mean, I guess he's not like Frogan at all.
Well, no, well, obviously it's up to people to decide, but I don't really think.
If you like Frogan.
Well, no, I mean, obviously I've got a very different tact and whatnot.
Aiden speaks Spanish bueno. I told you guys I had the opportunity to go to Spain when I was a kid, and they did try to teach. I stayed with my friend's family, who paid for literally everything. My first time leaving the continent, and they tried to teach me Spanish, and I just never kept up with it. I know all I remember is the colors. There's like and like body parts and random stuff like what your mouth is la boca. Your fingers are la mano, some shit with an M. Your head is la cabeza. That's all I know. Do you speak fancy Spanish or Mexican Spanish? Well, when I've been told I got the accent pretty well, but the way I learned to speak it was like Spaniard Spanish. And when I was being taught, it's like, thank you is gracias. And it's like, apparently the lisp, there was either a speech impediment of the guy teaching it to me, or I don't know, because everywhere else it's gracias.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you've got time as well, just briefly, whilst we're on the line, Nuxtaku, I saw you react to that video about Nuxtaku.
Yeah, no, you don't like Nux?
Well, I mean, you didn't see my part of the video, you skipped it, so you maybe don't know what my kind of contribution actually was.
Oh my god! You want me to pull it up?
No, you don't need to pull it up. You don't need to pull it up. It's fine. I'm just.
Well, okay, what do you want to say about Nux?
Also, I will say this. I don't know if he wants me to leak yet. Nick Andros has a bombshell on Nuxtaku, okay? I am waiting. If everything happened the way he described it to me, Nick Andros has a bombshell that if we were to get it big enough, Tectones and Asmans of the world could not ignore it. It's coming. Stay tuned.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I felt like you were quite favourable towards
All Nick Andros has to do is not fuck it up.
your friend when you covered him.
I think that's how most people are. I think that's how most people are. I'm not like a neutral journalist, Usually people are pretty good to their friends, don't you think?
Yeah, of course, I get that. I mean, I've got people that I'm friends with that
Why do you pronounce shitter name like that? I don't care enough about your shitter like random name to figure out the exact pronunciation of it. Is there like a Nick Andros? Nobody's corrected it. Okay, some people say Nick Andros, some people say Nick Andros. It's like a shitter random name. There's no official pronunciation for it.
absolutely would be kind of biased towards, more favourable towards. I just feel like you kind of watched this hit piece about him, and then there were some points where you kind of just like skipped over it or didn't really address certain aspects that were being.
I think the only part I skipped was you because of the whole meme of who the fuck is Chud Logic on all that stuff. It was like 2 years ago. Yes, pretty much. Plus, I mean, obviously, I will admit, on stream I do play a bit more of a dickhead than I am. I'm not going to deny that I'm a dickhead in real life. I absolutely am. But sometimes we like being a jackass a little bit for fun.
Well, why did you bother watching the hit piece about him if he's your friend? Why did you just,
It didn't seem like a hit piece at all.
Oh, I see. So did you pick it because it was a bit more favourable towards him then?
No, I saw it, so I can give you the full context.
Yeah, sure.
So the guy's name is Royalty is here, I
Your lisp makes it sound strange. I don't have a lisp.
believe. That's his username.
Yeah,
Did you
that's
made
sounds
it?
about right, yeah.
Yeah, and so
And if you know it's my lisp, then why are you asking why I pronounce it that way if you know the answer?
he made a video on me, and I just reacted to it on stream.
No, I don't have a Californian accent. I've not lived here long enough to have one.
Went very well. It was from 2 years ago. And everything that he said about me was out of context clips and bad faith arguments over and over and over again. And so I leave a comment, or I hear what I did. We interfaced somehow, and he said, yeah, looking back on this video, it was horrendous, and I apologize. I completely misrepresented you. And I said, okay, so the guy understands, and he was at least trying to be fair. And so then I say, okay, this guy made a video on me. That was an immense amount of bad faith. I wondered what he said about Nux. I clicked the video, and the dislike ratio was like non-existent. And I was like, oh, okay, so let's see how it goes, because the like the dislike ratio video on mine was fucking terrible.
I'm done here, man. I'm done here. I'm bored. I'm bored. We have nothing to talk about. I mean, listen, I try some of the no, we do have some stuff to talk about, but if I talked about it right now, we would have no stream tomorrow. We would have no stream. That's how dire things are. So I hope that at some point in the next 24 hours, we get the biggest drama of the year, okay? If any of you in chat know that somebody's a pedophile and have not spoken up for some reason, release it now. Drop the nukes, drop the receipts. Okay? We need topics. Oh, wait, in 2 days, the Cuckcast is doing an interview with Rose Malay. In other news, though, quick Boblox update. He clearly hasn't learned anything. Talking to the voice, it's literally, dude. It's literally just like talking to a fucking wall. Who are you talking to? We saw your dick. There's nobody left. Just read. Nobody cares about you. They care about you fucking reading the tweets. Okay? Read the fucking tweets. Because you had the most simple job with the most simple this guy calls me. I was going to stop talking about him. I was kind of sympathetic. His whole life was ruined. And then he's like, Aiden's kind of an idiot if you listen to him talk. You had the easiest job on earth. And somehow you fucked it up. And you're still fucking it up to the point where your parents were happy that when you moved out of the house, that they got to retire and not have to raise a kid anymore. And now they have a 28-year-old fucking man-child moving back in, taking photos in fucking dresses, like it's like some leaked found footage of the fucking BTK. Okay, what? I mean, I'm the stupid one. You had the most like it's like if your job was literally just to press a button and you couldn't do it. But in other news, I guess Boblox has not understood or gotten the memo that nobody cares about him and they just read tweets. I've been taking acting class for about a month and a half now. I'm always so pumped up afterwards, so excited to keep pursuing it and potentially add some of what I learned into YouTube videos when I return to making them. He still doesn't get it. He still doesn't fucking understand that there's no personality to be injected. You're supposed to fulfill a purpose, and he can't do it. He needs to prance around in his shitty little fucking improv classes where they're doing like, all right, guys, it's probably like a bunch of fucking 15-year-olds in there. He's probably the only adult. Let's warm it up. Let's get all the wiggles out, guys. And it's so cringe, dude. I took acting classes when I was a fucking kid, and it was the most cringe, like, fucking shit ever, dude. It was so cringe. All right. Anyways, that's probably gonna be a stream. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, probably. Yeah, we'll see what's happening. All right. Thanks so much. Take care. Peace.